Hey, happy Friday evening, everybody. Apologize for the delay to get me started. I'm kind of coming in under the wire with a lot of different things going on and lots of text chats coming in here at the last minute. So, welcome Friday night. You know this isn't our usual CAF update night. So I apologize for that. But I have a couple more of these coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So you're gonna have to bear with me while I adjust to this busier chat schedule that I've found myself in the middle of. But welcome to the show. I saw this is probably one of the most early chatted shows I think we've ever had. So I kind of was thinking as a Friday night we weren't going to have that much of a good turnout. But my goodness, everybody was in here talking early. So I appreciate it. And I bet you guys are starting to think it was going to be an April Fool's joke or something like that, and I wasn't going to show up, and you're going to feel like you just blew your Friday night. But I fooled you all. I am here. So as I've kind of alluded to in the weekly email, if you saw that earlier, I had a very busy day, and that's kind of why I'm like very behind on things. But it was a very productive day at the same time, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But as I mentioned in the email earlier today. Of course, Gary Leach, the artist, passed away last weekend, and there's been a lot of great things said about him. Of course, fantastic artist. I got to meet him one time when I was in San Diego. I had to dig up an old photo, and it's not very crisp or anything, but I was able to just talk to him for a few minutes. This was very early in my comic art collecting career. This was back in 2003. And I actually found some other fun photos that I'll show later. But Gary was really nice to me when I talked to him, and he was just a great guy and great artist. And with all the great things said about him on Facebook and social media in the last week, I'm reading Michael Finn's post in the Comic Art L, and I thought that it would be great to have Michael on since he knew him very well and certainly got a lot of artwork from him. So I've got Michael in the green room, and I'm going to bring him in here right now, and we'll talk a little bit about Gary. Hey, Michael, nice to see you again.
Hey, Bill, great to be here. Always.
I don't have too many repeat guests, and this isn't like the best reason to have you back on,
No.
but I really appreciate you being willing to do it so soon after everything that's happened here, Michael. So, you've got a great experiences with Gary. I mean, you've known him for a long time. So, tell us a bit about Gary.
Well, okay, I met Gary in 2005, so I've known him for 17 years, and I gave you a couple pieces, and I'll tell little stories along the way, but I'll tell you something. Gary was always one of the funniest people you ever knew, one of the greatest storytellers. The stories were only partially true, but they were great stories. I mean, he told stories about a lot of the British collectors that they would adamantly say were not true, but they were still really good. Gary had a helping hand for anybody interested in comics. He constantly at the British conventions would talk to people and run seminars on how to draw, how to work on stories. There was nobody he turned away. No hint of malice in this man. He was the first guy many, many years ago, Bill, with Hero Initiative. I did a 3-minute sketchbook. I collected all these sketches of 3 minutes, donated them to Hero, and they made a sketchbook. Gary helped me get people. He got artist after artist for me. He came to my house with the artwork. I mean, he was just a really wonderful man. He was a good friend of mine. He was a client of mine. I represented him on a lot of his Miracle Man work with Marvel later, but he was a wonderful, wonderful person.
Well, it's you were very fortunate. I mean, you've done a lot of interesting things in your time, but I'm sure working with Gary was one of the more memorable creators that you've gotten to work with, and you clearly appreciated his artwork a lot. Considering, I think in your CAF gallery you've got more than a dozen pieces of art by Gary.
I do. I mean, look, Gary was terrific. Gary always insisted on calling me Mickey or Mick, never Michael, never my actual name. Hey, Mick or Mickey, constantly. In London, they had a monthly drink up with Dave Gibbons would be there at times and others. And Gary made me start going. He's like, no, you're one of us now, Mick. And I was like, oh, okay, because I represented Gary. And I later became Alan Davis's lawyer. And Alan will tell you that I helped Alan solve something, which turned out well for Alan, because Gary kept haranguing Alan. You must hire Mickey. You must call Mickey. I don't charge any artist anything when I do this pro bono work. So I guess I'm pretty good labor. But Gary did it not because he wanted Alan to be taken care of. He wanted his friends to, he wanted the right things for all of them. I never heard him say a bad thing about anybody. And I gave you some pieces because I would tell you some of the stories of how I met Gary. But in 2005, I commissioned a Miracle Man black and white pencil drawing from Gary. And it was taken forever because Gary's a perfectionist. So then the story went, well, Gary's gonna ink it. Okay, great. Still doesn't show up. Gary's gonna do it in color now. Okay, still doesn't show up. Gary's fine. Finally, Gary supposedly is done. Gary's going to mail it to you. Nope. Weeks go by. Nope. Nope. Gary's gonna drop it off at Gosh, the comic store, at 5 o'clock if you can meet him there. Nope. Nope. Gary will bring it to your office. So I finally met Gary. Gary had to bring the piece to my office. And that is where I first met Gary. And he gave me the Miracle Man piece. And so I bought that and we started to become friends. And in the course of doing that, he was working on the book called The 12. He was inking Chris Weston over blue lines and Chris's hyper detail work. And Gary was complaining all the time to me that he was printing everything on Rufus Dayglow, an artist, on his little home printer. And I said, well, I have an industrial printer right here at my company. I have an industrial printer. So then Gary decided that the best way to do blue lines was come to my office and print stuff. I'm a lawyer. I work in a real office, and this kind of shaggy-haired, artist would constantly be coming by and using our printers and printing out all kinds of pages, for hours at a time. And I loved hanging out with him. And so that's how he ended up printing the 12, in my office, and we would be talking about art and comics all the time, Bill, all the time.
That's good that you were able to help him out.
Yeah. And of course, as things evolved, I represented him. People know he ultimately, his big book, the book he's probably the most famous for, was Marvel Man, who became Miracle Man. So he did that with Alan Moore. And one of the characters in the book is a warpsmith, and that was something Gary had created beforehand. So the warpsmiths were in Miracle Man, and later Marvel Comics bought many of the rights, and then I represented Gary in his dealings with Marvel. So that was good for Gary, good for Marvel. I think everybody left happy.
Sure.
And Gary did some more covers. Not too many years ago, he did a few new covers for Marvel as well. In that. So when I left England in 2008, and I think you probably saw the piece, my company hired Gary, and I told Gary, charge them a fortune. They don't know. And so, and whatever you charge, the company will think is cheap. And so Gary did this painting of me as Captain America, and it looks, the shield's a garbage can, and he filled it with all kinds of in-jokes between us. But I will tell you, Gary just loved comics, loved talking to fans. He was a fan himself. He had Kirby, he had other characters. Jack Kirby was one of Gary's favorites. I think you'll see in my gallery, he would do some blue line inks over Kirby. Joe Staten was a big favorite of Gary's. He inked, it's probably like triple size, Full Justice Society page. Gary loved to paint, so he did a great painting. Gary Land has a terrific painting by Gary. I have an Avengers 4 that he did. He didn't do it for me. I ended up buying that from him. I just thought, I would love to tell the stories, but they're always poking fun at people, so they're not always great. And for those of you who know Joseph Melchior, many of Gary's stories involve what I'll call tall tales starring Joseph. But they're really good stories, and they're really funny, even if they're really not that true. I still think they're great stories.
Well, Joseph deserves a few tall tales told about him.
He does indeed.
I've known Joseph for a long time. He's a great guy, and he was the one who first announced on the Comic Cardell the passing of Gary. And I had cut my editor hold off because at that moment, there hadn't been any announcements anywhere about it. But I alerted him to it to let him know that, hey, we might want to run something soon, but let's wait till one of the other news outlets makes some kind of announcement ahead of time. So you want to look at some of the artwork? Or?
Yeah, what do you put up some of the art? I'll
Sure.
give a little backstories on some of them. Some of them, okay. So that is the Miracle Man. I put the little logo on, but it's actually the painting. That's the black and white kind of bust that Gary did for me. That after like 3 years became this painting It's beautiful. It's terrific. I love it. But that's the whole story of how I met Gary. A, it was very late getting done. B, he was supposed to drop it off at Gosh. Then he was going to drop it off somewhere else. Then he was going to, and eventually brought it to my office. And that was the first piece I ever acquired from Gary.
No, that's beautiful. Well, it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was well worth the wait. It's a great, great piece. I mean, he's terrific. You can see, Gary tends to draw realistic figures. And that's what he was known for. And you can see kind of the realism that he puts in here.
Oh yeah, without question. And let's see, this next piece is the
Okay.
12.
So this is from the 12. And if you look very carefully, I don't know if you can see it in the upper left. There you go. The first panel, it says Finn's Print Shop. And that's Gary's joke about the fact that he always had to come to my office to run off the pages in the 12. So these are Gary's inks over Chris Weston. And Chris did so much beautifully detailed pencil work. And then Gary came and inked it. It was a lot of work. I mean, these pages took a long time to print out because Chris's is hyper detailed. And I think it was a really nice match, the two of them. And by the way, Chris became a friend. England's not so big. So I met most of the guys, and I've actually done some legal work for Chris too. So happy to do it. But this was Gary's kind of way to make a little in joke there. And Marvel didn't notice it. So Finn's Print Shop now exists in the Marvel universe.
No, I completely agree with you. Chris Weston's, he's an amazing artist. I've always appreciated his work. And the one and only time I got to meet Chris was at the San Diego 2003 show as well. He was still being rep by Marquet at that time. And so I actually got to hang out with him for the whole weekend and have a few drinks and everything. He was a great guy.
He's a really
Love talking
great guy. He's a really great guy. So what do you have next, Bill? See, I'm hoping I can guess what it is. Okay, great. The Avengers 4. This is a great Gary. This is a typical Gary Michael Vinn story. Gary brings his beautiful painting by the office to show me one day. And I love it. Of course I love it. I love Captain America. It's beautiful. It's hanging right in the other room here next to me. And so Gary gives me a price, and I tell him I can't afford it. So this is Gary just laughs and laughs. I say, I can't pay that, Gary. I can't pay that. He says, Mickey, let's just leave it here for a few days and look at it. And I just want you to get to look at it. Okay. So after a few days, they tell me, you got to pick it up. I can't pay for it. He says, no, take it home, put it in your house, look at it in your house and just think about it. So of course I'd buy it. I mean, Gary's a master salesman. He's laughing the whole time. He knows what's going to happen. This is actually, Bill, my wife's favorite piece in my collection.
Oh, really?
The fact that she got to know Gary. My daughters got to know Gary. Gary was over one day, and he had drawn a drawing called the Amazing Man Fin or something. It's kind of like a dorsal fin. It looks like me with glasses, and I was yelling at artists, "Where's the 3-minute sketch for charity, you a-hole?" And my then I think 7-year-old came by and said, "Oh, I know what an a-hole is. I know all the bad words because my daddy says them all." So I thought that's a great introduction. Gary was really happy to learn that and made sure to spread that story far and wide. So he was very happy about that. I was happy to get the piece, and I've tried to, clean up my mouth in front of my kids. So there you go.
Corrupting the youth of America.
Well, England's really, the house we had was really tiny. And the problem was the girls would always hear me in the study, and I'd be, not so happy with someone. But so I was like, oh, well. Such is life. But yeah, it's a beautiful painting. You can see the brilliant colors Gary did, how well he worked over Kirby. Just a great, great job.
And what's the size on this one?
That's pretty big. It's probably 18 by 24. It's a
nice.
large piece. It's beautiful. I mean, I think Gary could paint and use color just brilliant. I mean, really, really brilliant colors.
Right. When I saw it, I thought it must have been digitally colored. I didn't realize.
I know. That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he did it. He's just got so much talent.
That's brilliant.
So this was for my birthday. My wife got in touch with Gary. And so she said, I'd like to get a commission. The other thing with Gary is he doesn't really follow instructions. So Ellen told him whatever it was she thought I would like, and this is what he produced. So I think this is much better than anything. But this was one of my birthday gifts, maybe my 40th, that Gary and my wife Ellen worked out for me. So I was really thrilled to open this. I loved it. Ellen, of course, much later confided, I'm not sure that's exactly what I asked for, but as I said, Gary had his own vision and he followed it. It almost always came out better than whatever it was that somebody would have asked for. Captain America is my favorite. Again, you can see the dynamism here, how wonderful he does. And, he loved to put in, he did the lettering himself too. So, and all these things that Gary did, if you were an aspiring artist and you found him at a convention, he would do portfolio review. He would do panels talking about breaking into comics, how to draw in comics. I mean, he gave of himself. He loved building bridges. There was no collector or professional in England that if I was at a show that Gary didn't want me to meet and didn't want them to meet me. But it wasn't just me. It would any person that Gary took under their wing, he'd want to introduce everybody to.
Mm-hmm. He sounds like a fantastic guy and a great friend. I mean,
he was indeed.
Wonderful.
He was indeed.
I think this is the piece.
That's the goodbye gift. So behind me is Cap, is my office in London. I had to go to Wales all the time. Gary was always making jokes about the sheep in Wales. So those are all the Avengers. That's Bahaki, like the Bulk. And there's all these little in jokes that my shield is a garbage can. There's ketchup coming out of the burger because Gary, I think Rufus Dayglow and I went out for burgers one night and Gary squirted ketchup by accident on people. So we had all these little in jokes, but this was this is huge. This is, I don't know what this is, 24 by 30 or something, Bill. This is a giant piece. And Gary took a lot of time on this. So I should only look so heroic, but it's a place of honor in my house for sure. Again, you see the Mickey man. He didn't know my name. He just insisted I was Mick or Mickey. So there you go, Captain Mickey Man.
Well, that's is that? Do you have that hanging on the wall?
I do in our guest room. In the guest room, yeah.
Oh man, that's wonderful.
This was, I wanted a 1 minute later, one of my art themes from Gary, where you take a published cover and draw what would happen 1 minute later from the scene on the cover. So Gary, of course, loved Kirby. So he knew in this issue, the Watcher shows up, the Red Ghost and his apes. So he had all of that there. And you can again see how realistic looking the figures are, the anatomy. He really does a wonderful, wonderful job. I think he did it better than almost anybody I know. I think Gary's biggest problem was he was an utter perfectionist. So those of you who commissioned Gary know that it often took a long time because he just hated letting anything go. He just hated it. He just couldn't ever, there was always something else he could do, always a way to touch it up, always something.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It really is. I love the detail. I wish we could zoom in onto it. I'm sorry, I made these as slides, so I can't go in closer, but it's fantastic detail on this piece.
And you can find these all on my CAF. So if people go on my CAF, they can find them there and look at them even bigger.
Mickey says he's claiming it.
Yeah, there you go. It's a claim sale. There you go, Mickey. Okay. Well, you are Mickey. I'll give you Captain Mickey Man, and there you go.
That's true. Yeah, this next piece I don't think you asked for it, but when I was picking pieces out of your CAF.
Let me tell you what this is. So Bill, this is a wraparound cover to Miracle Man 1, and this was a gift to me from all of the artists I represented in the Miracle Man. So I'll tell you who's on it, and I'll tell you what we did. It's Gary Leach, Alan Davis, Rick Veitch, John Tottleben. I think that's it. So what I did was I had them mimic, and I'll tell you a couple things. They mimicked the art teams. So the first art team on Miracle Man was Gary himself, and so he did the Warpsmith by himself. The next one was Gary inking Alan Davis. So I think the two figures fighting at the bottom there are Alan pencils, Gary inks. Miracle Man is, I think, Alan pencils by himself. Then the Kid Miracle Man and Miracle Woman are John Tottleben. And then down at the bottom there is Rick Veitch. Did Gargunza, and I forget the name of the dog, that little evil dog of his. And then Gary did background inks to pull it all together. For those who ever come to my house, if you want to know one of the greatest things I've ever seen is they put me on the email chain that went back and forth between these artists for months at a time as they were working on it and talking about it and sharing the drawing and mailing the piece from place to place. and how kind they were to each other. Like, oh, Alan, would you mind if I do this? And oh, Rick, how about this? I mean, it was so cool. And then it was done. And Marvel said, we want to do this as a wraparound variant. I was happy because that just meant my clients got paid, some more money.
Sure.
But this bill, I hang up. This is also on my wall because I love it. It was just a really kind thank you. And for those that know John, he's more than legally blind. So the fact that he took the time to do this, as painstaking as it had to be, meant everything to me. It's probably one of my favorite pieces.
Wow. And that's an interesting, you get the insights on the whole process and the back and forth between them as well before you even got to see the finished piece. So that's great.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And look, and Gary pulled it all together. He kind of helped, drive everybody, kind of, asked them all for help and did his usual, right? He just did it all quietly, wonderfully, and didn't make a fuss. And just, it came out beautifully. I mean, it's really, really a beautiful piece. So this is from Joseph Melchior. Joseph asked Gary to do a Miracle Man drawing for my Leaving England. And so who sees Miracle Man there? No one, because Gary did what Gary does best. He told Joseph, I know what Mickey would want. I know what Mickey would want. He doesn't want Miracle Man. So when Joseph went to pick up the Miracle Man drawing that he had commissioned from Gary handed him this beautiful Warpsmith piece. So I don't know if you can read the caption, but down at the bottom it says for Phineas, blah, blah, blah. And it's signed from Joseph Melchior, who I became very good friends with and is a wonderful guy. And I will tell you that Joseph smiles and laughs when Gary tells these tall tales, but they are great. Maybe when we end up, I'll tell one of my favorites about Joseph that doesn't cast him in too bad a light, but Gary had a lot of great stories and he knew Joseph for many years. And I think that's part of why Joseph was the subject of many tall tales. But this was a gift to me from Joseph of Miracle Man, who Gary instead chose to do Warpsmith, which I ended up loving, of course. But I just smile because that's Gary to a T, right? He knew what he said. I know what he wants. I'm going to do what I think he'll love, and just delivered something just absolutely gorgeous.
Well, he did the same thing to your wife when
yes,
you got the
yeah.
cat.
Gary did that a lot. I don't want to tout my book, but I do these one-page origins in the Liberty Brigade, and I asked Gary if he could do a single one-page origin. And he said, no, I will do 3. Okay, fine. I gave him the script for the 3 one-page origins, and he delivered 8 pages. He had 2 3-pagers and 1 2-pager, and didn't really follow my script at all. It came out wonderfully, and I love them all, but I laugh. I mean, it just made me laugh and laugh because it was everything, all the reasons I love him, right? And all the reasons that he was a great creator because he had his own ideas and was going to marry them to the ideas that the writer had. And it just made me laugh. I just smiled and wrote around it.
That is pretty funny. I mean, at any rate, but at least he knows what you want. And so he delivered it rather than following the instructions. At the end of the day, I mean, that's fun. And at the end, and you appreciated it, what the final product was in all these cases. It wasn't like you were shocked and upset and you were disappointed. You were really happy and impressed with it. I mean, he clearly knew what you needed and what you wanted.
This is another piece. Gary did this for fun. So this is a really strange piece. Joe Staten drew this piece and it got published in a fanzine. And I somewhere in my CAF, I think I have a picture of the fanzine. Gary was given, I believe, a blue line set of the pencils and was inked them for yet another fanzine that never got off the ground. And Gary showed me this, and I love the Justice Society. I love these characters, and I had to have it. And so he was kind enough to sell it to me. Again, it's a very large piece. Gary loved to work large scale, twice up and bigger, made him really happy. And I adore the piece. So if you go to my CAF, you can see this and you can compare it to the published piece, and they're a lot of fun. If I could, Bill, I'll tell you this story. If I could, while we have a minute or two, Gary would tell me this story, how, he was at a convention. It was the end of the convention. Gary is exhausted. He is wiped out. He's got his boxes, his art. He's hunched over like a mule. He he just can't do, the train's coming. He doesn't, oh my God. He just can, he doesn't know how he's going to get on the train. Joseph helps him on the train. And in Gary's story, he's exhausted. It's Sunday night. He's weighted down. And Joseph turns and says, how about a sketch? And now Joseph denies that story. It isn't, I'm sure it's not true, but it's such a wonderful story. I mean, just and I don't tell it anywhere like Gary. If Gary were here, and I'm so sorry for everybody, for those that didn't meet him, that I'm the one telling the story. Joseph could probably tell it pretty good, but Gary makes the face and hunches over and shows you everything is carrying. And then, of course, at the end, he's met by this fanatic art collector who's demanding a sketch on the train at 9 o'clock on Sunday. And I will have to drop everything. And Joseph would, with great good nature and kindness, laugh and deny the story 10 ways from Sunday.
Well, I mean, his email is Cheeky Joe. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to try to, make it a joke. I don't know.
And just as I was known as Mickey, Gary only referred to him as Cheeky. So he was not even Cheeky Joe. To Gary, he was just Cheeky. He was like, oh, I was talking to Cheeky, and I knew who it was. So I hope I gave people a little flavor of this really wonderful, wonderful man. I think we lost a lot, not because he was a great illustrator, because he was, but because I thought every convention, anybody interested in comics, Gary was filled with energy and would love to talk to them and help them on their journey, whether they were a collector, an artist, a writer, whatever it was, Gary wanted to help.
Well, and you knew you were his friend when you were called by a nickname. Yeah.
I did. Thankfully, he didn't tell stories about me demanding sketches, so I got off easy.
Well, that you know of, and you never know, right?
That's right. I'll check the comments later and see if people say anything. But Bill, thank you for letting me talk for a few minutes about Gary, the human being, and not necessarily the artist. I hope I told some funny stories, and I miss him. I had planned to go see him this summer, and obviously that won't happen, but it's nice to be able to share these stories with people so his memory will live on.
Well, I really appreciate you being able to come on tonight too, Michael. It's we need to celebrate the hobby as often as we can, and we don't. And so often, I would have loved to have done an interview with Gary. I mean, he would have been a fantastic person to talk to. And, this hobby is kind of moving on, and we're losing creators, and it's tragic. And, I feel like we need to get their stories written down or, recorded as we're doing tonight. And, we need to do more of that. And I hope that as time goes on, that's what this channel becomes, more and more about, is trying to make sure that we recognize the people, the creators as people, and as, as our heroes, as far as the stories they've created and the contributions they've made to comics. And, again, I appreciate you taking the time tonight to talk about your friend.
It's my pleasure, Bill. Thanks for having me. And I hope you do get a chance to do that with the channel, because you do such a great job doing this for everybody. Mickey, just come on by and you can have your piece of art that you claim. So just thank you, Bill.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Good night.
Good night. Cheers.
All right. Well, that was great. I'm glad Michael was able to come on. I kind of emailed him the other day, short notice, just kind of hoping that he would be able to spend some time with us on a Friday evening, definitely being an off night. And so, yeah, that was great. I'm really happy. So we've got a lot of other things going on tonight, and I've got someone else in the green room to talk to as well. Somebody who I think eventually I'm going to be doing an interview with them. So let me bring on Lee Banaka here. And hey, Lee. Oh, you're muted right now. There we go.
Bill, how's it going?
It's going very well. Nice to finally actually meet you after all the emails we've had over at least 20 years of collecting.
It's amazing. We go way back. Yeah. I've loved your site, love what you do for a long time, and very excited to see all the exciting things you're doing on the YouTubes and everywhere else. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. The last couple of years have been very interesting. Thanks to the pandemic, we've just tried to do more outreach and different approaches to try to make the hobby a better place. And I wish I'd been doing it sooner. But you and I, we've talked, and again, we'll talk a bit about why you're here. But you've done a lot for the hobby as well, with all the scanning of old material and all that stuff. So you want to tell, before we jump into our stuff, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you've done to make the hobby a better place.
Well, you're too kind, but I've been a little bit obsessed for a long time now with old comic book art ads. And I think way back when I was trying to figure out a way to share them through comic art fans, and we, kind of tried to figure out some ways, but it was never quite as graceful as I'd hoped for whatever reason, stuff on my end and stuff. So I finally got a coworker who knew how to use a program called Drupal, and he created a very basic searchable database that would allow me to upload scans of these little images of art for sale with the prices. So the website is called comicartads.com. It's not to be confused with Comic Art Fans. I apologize if that's ever seemed like a bit of a ripoff or a
not at all
cheap thing, but yeah, it's comicartads.com. It's a searchable database, so you can search by artist or by title. And I haven't checked recently, but there's probably around 4,000 scans on there. I also have scanned complete catalogs from the 1970s that you can look at. And I've interviewed some of the dealers who used to run ads in, the Comic Buyer's Guide or the Buyer's Guide for Comic Fandom in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So I still update it every few days. I'm still scanning stuff. It keeps me busy. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I remember early on before you started it, you were asking me to try to help, and I wish I had. And I mean, just the timing around here. It's if how much free time I have, it would have been a great resource. But it is a great resource. You're able to tackle it on your own, and the site's standalone. And one of those interviews you did was with Mitch, right?
Yes, that's right. I think that was the first one I did, and Mitch is kind of a patron saint of the whole thing, because he was, that was the first time I really learned a lot about the fact that there was comic book art out there, is when I subscribed to his catalogs and got them in the mail. And he presented such crisp, clear little images with the artist's name and the title and the price. And it's just perfect for my scanning purposes. So I acquired a complete set of his catalogs. And I've had a lot of folks over the years who have helped me with sending me materials, or I've traded art for old catalogs, even, if you can believe that. But, all the way back to Chuck Costas and Bill Hagenauer and Ethan Roberts and Stuart McIntyre more recently, who pulled every comic art ad from this huge collection of buyer's guides that he acquired and just gave them to me, which was amazing. So a lot of help along the way, but it's been fun.
Yeah, I can tell you, I have not spent a lot of time on the site, but I know that kind of work takes a lot of passion. You gotta love what you're doing and the reason behind doing it. And yeah, because no one can ever own all of those little bits. I mean, I've got probably the first 30 Russ Cochran catalogs, but but those are they're just great resources for us to even just know that things were available at some time. Because CAF doesn't even have 10% of the art that's ever been published. Probably it doesn't even have 5% of the art that's ever been published. So having those things out there that you can go back and look at are invaluable to collectors.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that certain artists in the 70s for Marvel or wherever were just, as soon as they would get art back from Marvel, they would turn it right over to somebody who would run an ad in Comic Buyer's Guide or the Buyer's Guide for Comic Fandom. And there's got to be a lot of stuff out there that hasn't surfaced on CAF or other places yet. So it does give you hope and lets you know that that dream grail page that you've always wondered about, actually someone did have it for sale back in 1978.
Right.
Maybe.
Exactly. But you've never seen you haven't seen them in a long time. But again, that's what I always talk about, like the market data that we have on CAF. The really main valuable thing about it is the fact that that it just gives you a reference to know that it once was available, most likely, rather than knowing what the prices are, because the way the prices are in the market, it's just irrelevant. But it's just nice to know that the piece was available at some point, so that you can at least continue hoping that you might one day find it. Right.
Yeah. The prices, are just only torture you. But it is interesting to see sometimes how artists were valued in the 70s in comparison to each other. Howard Chaykin's art was a lot higher priced, had much higher price tags than a John Romita or a John Buscema. And maybe that was because Howard was consigning directly and pricing his own art. But it's funny to see who was high priced. Jim Starlin was always always high priced. Bernie
Mhm.
Wrightson was always high priced, but other folks, were dirt cheap for whatever reason.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's definitely different now, but back then, I mean, who knows what was driving prices? Was it because they were current and what they were working on? But yeah, the market's certainly not like that today. It's across the board, everything is doing really well.
For
But
sure.
so Lee, you're actually a fill-in tonight because Larry originally wanted to be here. You just recently, there was the I guess we can call it the new cherry blossom get together. I don't know what if it's going to have a name or carry over from that
Yeah, I think we're still kind of calling it the Cherry Blossom Spectacular. And it was a spectacular gathering of collectors and portfolios and art. But this really dates back, I think, over 10 years when Chuck Costas lived in the DC area, and he would host collectors at his house and grill out some food. And eventually he started to invite some artists. So Herb Trimpe was at his house one year, and Mike Vosberg was at his house another year. And then your previous guest, Mickey, hosted one kind of in the interim after Chuck moved to California. Michael hosted one at I think a community center in the DC area. And then I started hosting them. I had at least one. I don't know if I've done 2 or 3, including the most recent one, but I've had them at my house, and it's just been great fun. We haven't done it for a few years for obvious reasons, but Larry came up with the idea of doing it again. We'd try to do it in the spring when the cherry blossoms are blooming, and they're just about done blooming at this point. We've had some kind of cold weather and some windy weather, so I think it's over, but had a great turnout. Mickey A came up from Richmond with his friend DJ, and had all sorts of great folks, old friends and new friends I met, and a lot of great art. A few deals were done, and some people ate some good food, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's what we wanted to talk about. Is just we're seeing more and more meetups getting reestablished now that COVID's finally passed, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, I even had a couple of guests over the house today that were passing through, and literally the first time I've ever done that in this house in 20 years. So such a great experience, and it's something I've talked about wanting to do when I'm going to be moving to Florida at some point in time this summer. And that was one of the things that I've talked with my wife about. I said, we've got to at least be doing two meetups a year. I feel like these are things we need to have. They're important for the hobby to get together outside of conventions where it's just a group of collectors enjoying company, looking at good art. Everybody brings something to share if they can, and yeah, I mean, what a fun thing to do, right? I mean, because it like when I was talking with who came by today was Jeff Singh, and he hosts his own event up in Toronto, and I guess he's got one coming up. Usually it would be in the fall, but he's going to be doing one in July, and he said that he's made some of the best friends in the hobby have come about by hosting these meetups, and they take some time to gain some traction, as far as like the number of people that show up, but over time, if you're consistent and you're willing to host these things, they really can turn into really spectacular events.
Indeed.
And yeah, I found this one image on CAF. I didn't really format it, so I don't think it's perfect for the screen. But there's an old one. It's got Larry in it. And look, that's a young Chuck sitting there.
That's right. Yeah, that may have been the one at the community center that Michael put together. Yeah, that was a few years ago, but very nice to see.
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that. I was digging through his CAF gallery and doing some searches, and I stumbled on that. Now, Larry sent me some photographs and a short video clip, so I did put that together. I'm just going to go ahead and play that, and then we can talk a little bit more.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let me see here, right here.
Yeah, this is a Kevin Nolan too. He's a Nolan A son, which is pencils. I'm a big carpet. Yes, this is something he did for when he was doing the movie. That's how I feel. This is the only driver who just done the authority in the last 20 years. He said, this is for the hardcover. For the hardcover. I love that. Oh, this is
There you go. That's all he sent me. But again, look, that looks like so much fun. Who in the group, in our chat tonight wouldn't want to be hanging out? And I know some of them were. Mickey was there. I know that he wasn't in any of the photographs, but Larry said Mickey was there, and of course Frank Cho was there. I don't know. I didn't recognize the other collectors, but I'm sure they've been. I saw a couple of them that were in the photograph that I just showed earlier that were there too. So.
Yeah, Larry was in the photograph, and there's some real CAF stalwarts who were at the gathering. So, and they're all local people. It's just amazing how certain parts of the country will have concentrations of collectors. So, we had Jason H, who comments a lot on at least my artwork, and Anand Kandaswamy, who has a great Barry Kitson collection, a lot of great art on CAF as well, and Jason Schachter, who's done some work with Jim Craig and with the family of Billy Graham, do art sales for them. Mike Burra, who brought his friend Frank Cho, which was a nice surprise, and Frank was a delightful guest. And several other folks, just all super friendly guys, no gals, but we'll work on that for the future. But lots of great art. I really don't understand. I'm sure you saw the portfolio is kind of stacked up all over the place. I'm always amazed that somebody doesn't walk out with the wrong portfolio or leave something behind, but that doesn't seem to happen. So it's all good.
No, you got to mark them. They're like your children. You know which ones are yours. You're never going to walk out with somebody else's portfolio.
Yeah, that's a terrible feeling. I was telling folks, somebody at the gathering, that I was at New York Comic-Con several years ago and bought a t-shirt for one of my kids at a table and walked off without my portfolio, and half hour later I realized it, and I was just freaking out. But I did write my name and number, and the t-shirt vendor called my wife, and everything was good.
Oh man, I that is always my biggest fear when I'm walking around San Diego, New York, whatever con, and just because you always set your portfolio down, and I mean you've heard many horror stories from that too. People go up to the rental car stand and set their portfolio down, go back an hour later, and it is gone. So
with the prices these days, it's a serious issue.
Definitely. And so that was your house, right? I think Mickey said that you were the host this year.
Yeah, that was my house. So I kind of picked a weekend when everyone was out of town. So my wife was out of town, and my son, who's living at home right now, was out of town as well. So I had the whole house to myself, just me and the two cats and the pug, and everyone behaved themselves. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. We had Joel Pollack from Big Planet Comics in Bethesda, Maryland. He runs a institution of a comic shop, and he subsidized some of the pizza and the samosas that were served. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a full 4 hours straight, just nothing but talking and looking at art and catching up. So it was great. A lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you're hosting it. I think that I really want to encourage more of this out there. And there's already a lot. I mean, Benno has one that he does in Atlanta. I know that's coming up. I think I'm not sure. I was he had posted something on Facebook, and then I couldn't find what the dates were. But again, it's just great that these things have been going on for a while, and that, they are traditions for the people who've put the time and effort into it. We saw Fish had hosted one a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago. I mean, again, these are just good opportunities for collectors to network and get to know one another better. And I certainly appreciate the fact that you've been you're carrying on the tradition, and it's just super special. And I think everybody should, if you have the opportunity, should do that. I mean, around here, like I said, I've been here for 20 years. I've never been to. Well, I've only been to one get together, and that was something Berkey hosted literally at the start of my collecting career, so 20 years ago. But there's lots of collectors in the Cleveland area. I mean, I kind of regret the fact that I've never taken the opportunity to try to assemble something like that. And now I'm leaving, so I'm not going to do it. But that's why I told my wife when we moved to Florida, I'm not going to let that happen again. I mean, I want to get to know the local collectors and know who's in the area, and because it'll be good for all of us. I mean, it's the one big thing in the hobby, especially for new collectors, is always just how do you get to meet anybody? And I think that's that probably turns some collectors away over time when they get started and they're not meeting or networking with other people. It doesn't become as enjoyable. But to be able to get together, enjoy the hobby with friends and people who have clearly similar interests to you, it's just a great thing.
Yeah, doing it at someone's house is a lot more relaxed too than going to a convention or even to an art show where, people want to say hello and they want to talk, but they're also, what's Bashara got? I got to go over and look through his portfolios, or, you're kind of looking around and seeing what you might be missing out on as well. Whereas this, people aren't necessarily there to sell or trade. That does happen, but it's more of just very relaxed sharing. And, that's why I think that's a big part of collecting art, is just to share it. And, your website certainly facilitates a great way of sharing art, with people around the country, around the world, and to do it on the more, local scale as well, in person, when we're able to do that, is very nice also.
I agree. Well, Lee, we've got to get you on the schedule to do an interview sometime. If it's okay, I'll throw some dates your way after the show, or probably over the weekend.
That'd be great.
Maybe we can settle on something, because I'd love to have you on and we can talk more about comic art ads and and your time in the hobby, because clearly you've been doing it for a while. I mean, if you were getting Mitch's catalogs that got you started, you've been doing this for a while, because I don't think Mitch was putting out a catalog when I started. It was probably right around that end time. I started
he wrapped
99.
He wrapped up around 2000, 2001. So
Okay.
I think I was subscribing in 94. So got in when the getting was good. I wish I bought more, but we all do back in those days.
I wish I was buying more 2 years ago. So
definitely look forward to talking to you more, though. Thanks. They'll be great.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, Marcus says 2001 was his last catalog.
Thanks, Marcus.
Marcus is our resident expert on almost everything, including
Apparently.
good and bad jokes. So, all right, Lee. Well, thank you so much for stepping in for Larry. I appreciate it. And
anytime.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Yes. Somebody said my camera is actually better. You know what it is? I think I finally figured it out. I always had like these side lights a little bit too bright behind me, and I think that that was making the camera not know what to focus on. So if the image is actually coming across better, then I've succeeded in mastering this thing after almost 2 years of doing live streams. It just happened the other night. I was doing a show and was doing some recording before that, and I realized that the camera seemed to work better when there weren't multiple light sources in the room. So go figure. So got a couple of those things checked off my list. I don't have a terribly long list tonight, but I did get a package in the mail. Let's see. And now I had to have my wife open it first, because, and I say my wife, Maureen hates when I say that. I always have to say, I had Maureen open it because I was like, did I order something that I don't know? I've forgotten about. And so she opened it and said, no, it's a gift. So, and all I have is, I've got a real knife this time, because I don't have my blade around here anywhere. So let's really hope I don't cut myself tonight. But this is from Chris Rell, R-E-H-L, from Los Angeles. Now, I looked on CAF and I didn't see anybody with the name Chris Rell, but I did Google the name, and they are involved in comics in some way. So let's see. Well packaged. Yeah, Ruben. Well, I feel like I know the name, but I was like, I'm scratching my head. I couldn't remember. And it's actually from all right. Now, I don't know why this came from, postmarked from Chris. Again, it is postmarked from Chris Rell in Los Angeles, California. But it's from Tatiana. So if everybody remembers the X-Men show that we did the other day, I had to admit that I had never read Excalibur. And so I don't know why Chris sent it. Came from somebody else, but it says right there, to Bill from Tatiana. It's an Excalibur trade. So Jason, you should be very happy that she took care of this for me. And now I can actually read a little bit of Excalibur and know what all the fuss was about. Yeah, she must have had a drop chip. Yep, that's probably true. Yes. Oh, so you were in on this, were you, Jason? Well, all right. Well, I'll see why Alan Davis was meant to be involved in Excalibur now. I will read it, and I'll give you my opinions after the weekend of going through that. So, I don't know. See, which run? I mean, there were more than one, Jeff. I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I never read Excalibur, so I mean, the first cover in it is right there. So I don't know. We'll find out. She only shared it was all her. All right. Well, Tatiana's awesome. I love her to death. She's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and she's probably not watching tonight, but I will definitely send her an email. Let's see. Serious question from Ruben. When was the last time I actually had time to sit and read a trade paperback? That's a good question. I got that one from Sean Gordon Murphy, The Plot Holes, and I've had it for a week and I'm only halfway done with it. So not a whole lot of time, unfortunately. I'm working on it. I'm trying to find more time, but yeah, it's just everything right now. You guys know it's just super busy trying to get the house in order so I can sell it. So as if I never had time, before this, now I really even have less time to do things, but I'm getting there. Bill Tim says I get the best gifts after Nick Ferrucci. And Jeff is letting me know that's the beginning of volume 1. Okay. So I wanted the digital version. It wouldn't matter. I still wouldn't have time to read it if I got the digital version or the physical trade. I'm glad I got the physical trade though. Let's see. That's yes. So, all right. I have to remind myself to shoot Tatiana an email after this, but where is it? Jeff Moy. When I was going through the San Diego 2003 photos, I found a photo that I thought you would get a kick out of. And so this is just for you, Jeff. Look at that. That's Philip Moy, of course. And that was in 2003. I picked up three different Powerpuff Girls from Philip. And I also picked up this sketch, Powerpuff Girl sketch that he did for my son. And I was always really happy to have that, and because he was a big Powerpuff fan. But yeah, that's all. That's the bro. And I should have slid it down a little bit more because his hair is definitely it's an early 2000s style cut. That is for sure. I can't share the other version. I had to crop it to make it fit right. But there you go. I knew you would enjoy that. You can let him know that I showed a vintage picture of him here. I mean, you might have been at that show, Jeff, right? I mean, I think I don't know. I have this weird feeling like maybe you were sitting next to him or something during that show. But it was real. I felt fortunate to have gotten to his table early and pick up the covers and stuff that I did because he had a lot of nice Powerpuff stuff in his at his table at that time. Let's see. Oh man. Okay, so I got that one out of the way. Now, a couple things. Alfredo sent me a set of videos and photos, which I haven't been able to use any of the photos. I hate to tell you, Alfredo, but I went through and kind of edited the video clip. It was a little long, so I kind of have sped up part of it. But Alfredo went to the Mike Zeck exhibit, and I thought, oh, it might be just a rerun of what we saw when I had Chuck Costas on. But Alfredo actually got a lot of images that weren't shown when Chuck kind of did his walkthrough video clip as well. And so I've kind of compressed it into about a 5-minute clip of Alfredo's walkthrough, and you'll see a fair number of pieces that weren't featured when Chuck did his walkthrough of the Zeck exhibit. And of course, the Zeck exhibit was all Chuck's personal collection, and it was at the Ringling College of Art in Sarasota, Florida. It did end, I believe, last Saturday. Jeff and Alfredo went there on the last day, so they had no problem with them filming everything. So what I thought I would do is after tonight, I will take Alfredo's clip and not make it compressed down into the 5-minute walkthrough, and I'll post it up on the channel as well. So anybody who wants to kind of get a full walkthrough that isn't a little rushed, that you can enjoy it at the pace at which Alfredo shot it. So I'm going to show you this right now, and it is about 5 minutes long. So it's, again, you can, if you don't want to watch it, you can go get a drink, you can come back. But I would encourage you to watch it because I put it to some good music, and I think it's very nice. So here we go.
All right, comic art fans, this is Alfredo Quintero. I'm here at the Mike Zeck Chuck Costas Collection Gallery exhibit, and I'm gonna do a quick visit inside, so enjoy the show. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is actually the very last day of this exhibit. Today is Friday, March 25th. I gotta go back to Disney World now. I left my family over there. But I want to give a special thanks to my exec for all his years of hard work and all the joy that he's given us. And I want to give a big thanks to Chuck Costas for making this exhibit possible and amassing this impressive collection. So peace out, guys. Be well.
Thank you very much, Alfredo. Lots of work goes into these things, so I appreciate everybody who sends me contributions like that. I literally, while that was playing, got an email from Kevin Sharp asking me if anybody has done any video for me for WonderCon, and I said no, and he said that he was going to shoot some stuff from Artist Alley, so we can expect to have that next week. So unless any, and if I get more, if I get 2 sets of stuff, that's the more the better. So I appreciate Alfredo, for you sending me that, really. And the more of that kind of thing we can show on the channel, the better. I like being able to publicize anything that's promoting original comic art collecting. And yeah, having a second look at it like that was really nice, because I saw a lot of pieces there that weren't featured in the piece that Chuck put together for us. So I do have a guest reviewer tonight doing 10 picks, and they're in the green room already. So I won't say who it is yet, because well, actually I did say it in the email, so I guess if you saw it, then you know. But I'm not going to bring him on just because I got to run through a couple other things real quick. But I don't want to leave him sitting there, because it's his first time doing this. He's probably getting nervous. I mean, it might be like his first time on camera or something. But let me go over just a couple quick things. I got this weird text the other night while I was doing the show with Dino and Nick, and it was from Rich Donnelly, as oddly as it was. And I don't really know what he wanted me to do. It was like kind of a I know he's at WonderCon. What did he text me? He sent me this image, and he said, Brother Dan and I are filling in for Steve at WonderCon. So all non-Steve art is for sale. And I brought my Zek Secret Wars promo cover to show. I honestly don't even remember that. What is that, from like a Marvel Age or something? Anyway, so he sent me that. Yeah, it must be Marvel Age. I don't know. It's probably some PR. They never, as you know, the Donnellys tend to not write. They don't give me too many announcements. So this was their way of letting me know that they were going to be at WonderCon. But even better than that is this next photograph that he sent me at the same time. Oh, not that one. Son of a gun. I thought it would go right over to it. Oh, you stinker. Now I've got to like pull it. Oh, it's over here. Okay, hang on. There we go. Look at this. This is Brother Dan. But he's holding the art, but more importantly, he's wearing a Dueling Dealers shirt. He's not wearing a Dealmaker shirt. And that is exactly what he said. Rich said, and Dan and I will wear the Dueling Dealer t-shirts first day. So thank you very much, Rich Donnelly and Brother Dan. Dan's the muscle. I think he does all the heavy lifting around there. But there you go. They're sporting Dueling Dealer shirts at WonderCon, at least as well today, Friday, right? This would have been for today. So thank you very much to Rich and Dan. Even if Steve is not there, he wouldn't wear a Dueling Dealer shirt, would he? So all right. So I had to get that out for him, PR wise, for Cool Lines Art, right? So let's see. So if anybody else is going out there, please take some pictures and stuff. So dealers booths, I always love getting pictures of those. And and even video clips, if the dealers don't mind you doing that, feel free to Dueling Dealers versus Dealmakers live stream soon. Sure. Well, we'd win hands down. I mean, come on, we're fun, educational, and tend to have better art. Well, whatever. I'm not going there. I've never gone down that path. Anyway, a couple of quick things here before I get started with the CAF update. Let's see. A picture from my get together today. Here you go. Look at that. The wall behind me. And, that was when we were talking. We didn't take any pictures, but this one. So that's Jeff's saying, of course, right next to me. Ron. I don't remember Ron's last name. I should, because I met him. Well, shoot, I met him about 14 years ago. I think Marcus might know who it is. I know he's good friends with Albert. And the other guy is. Oh gosh, that is artist. I'm going to kick myself for this. Where was it? Oh, Joe Dragunis. So Joe's local, actually. He's where is he at? He's in like Menor, so 10 minutes away from me. So Rob. I said Ron, right? So okay, there you go. I knew it. I knew I was messing everything up. Sorry to Rob, not Ron. But Ron gave it. But yeah, Rob does not have a CAF gallery, so he's got too much great art. So he's kind of stayed away from Uh, I'm taller than you expected. What the heck's that supposed to mean, Jason? like I'd be diminutive or something. And yes, the Adam Hughes Jean Grey piece, one of my all-time favorites. And actually, I set up a whole a card table, and it's like the first time I've ever actually set out my own art for anybody to look at. It was pretty cool. And the one piece that they really liked the most was was the Adam Hughes Scarlet Witch piece that I got when I did Adam's website. Of all the things I thought that they'd be interested in, that was the piece. They took it out of the portfolio, and they were like, and wanted to take pictures of it. So yeah, so I guess I got a good one. I always thought it was a good one. It's in my CAF on the in my featured art. So I guess it's better than I thought it was, because that was the one that they thought was pretty cool. But it was a good time. So again, it really reminded me of why I want to do more get-togethers, because it was a lot of fun. They went down to let's see, where did they go? Oh, they went to the Billy Ireland Museum. And speaking of the Billy Ireland Museum, I had Jeff pick up a proper business card for the person who is who's not been returning any of my emails. I don't think it's this person, but I've been trying to set up a get together with in Columbus while the Marvel exhibit is still there, and I've had no luck until Jeff went down there and picked up the card and said that there's this guy Bill Cox who really does run the biggest website for original comic card collectors, and he's trying to hook up and set up something with you. So he'll be calling you next week. So hopefully I'll actually be able to talk with them now and set up a date, probably in August, for anybody who would like to show up, and we'll work out a joint visit to the Marvel exhibit and to the Billy Ireland. What I probably was thinking of doing was just talking with them about what they'd be willing to put out for us. And I know they've got a couple at least one large meeting room at the Billy Ireland from everything I've read. And I know that typically they're very open to putting things out. So, what I thought I'd ask them is if we can work out somehow, giving them a modest donation to guarantee that we could have like a room for a couple hours, and certainly at least some select Wattersons to look at, and some Charles Schultz, because they've got a lot of both. I'd love to see that. And then just anything else that I might find interesting. We'll see what we can work out with them. But hopefully I'll have something to report next week about that, the possibility of getting this thing set up with them. So I look forward to giving you more information. Did I take them to Chips, Stanley? No, I did not. I'm not. It snowed today here in Chardon. I kind of, I feel sad for the guy who bought it. I mean, he literally has not been able to open it up yet because we've been so darn cold around here. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, Marcus. But so okay, let me hit a couple other things here and then get my CAF update started. Now, chat schedule is full again. Most of this you've already seen. I've got Gene Park on next Tuesday, Heritage Signature Auction preview on Monday. We're going to have Mike, Nick, and Dino on a Heritage recap the following week. Newly added is Steve Morger, a longtime friend of mine. We both owned Big Wow Comic Fest. He's going to be on Thursday, the 14th. That's the week where I'm going to end up pushing the CAF update to Friday again. But it's worth it to be able to have Steve on. I mean, I haven't talked to Steve in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk a little bit about Lake Como, since he's now a co-owner of that show. But I said, hey, if we're going to talk about Lake Como, we got to talk about your collection. So he's going to have some portfolios in hand, and we'll look through some of Steve's amazing collection, because he really does have one hell of an art collection that he really doesn't post a whole lot of it on CAF at all. So Nick Patera will be my guest on the 19th. Josh Raybuck will be on the 26th. I've got Joe and Nadia on again. Howard Chaykin's going to be doing more of a artist discussion, but on the paradigm, which is his approach to storytelling. Frank Lanza on Tuesday, May 10th. I'm going to be doing something with Tatiana on the 14th for Lake Como. And newly added to this as well, I've got Jason Sean Alexander, the artist, will be on with me on the 23rd of May. That is all due to Mel. Mel has been doing some outreach for me with several creators, and just saying, hey, Bill wants to talk with comic art creators. Just shoot him an email, and he'll set a date for you. And so Jason got in touch with me, and so I'm going to be doing that. I was literally contacted by Jim Mafood today as well, who Mel, I believe, also reached out to, and so Mafood wants to be on too. So I mean, it might not be till June, but I'm going to be getting back in touch with him sometime this weekend, and hopefully I'll have him on the schedule next week. And then I will be doing a prop store auction preview with Chuck early in June, because they've worked out a deal with the Hannigans. So some of the similar art that we showed on the Hannigan sale that we did to benefit Ed and Heidi, he's also going to be selling some through the upcoming prop store auction. So we're going to be talking about that and showing things off for that as well. And as far as the sales schedule goes, I mean, I've added a few things in here as well, and firmed some things up. I am doing a thing with Anthony tomorrow. For anybody who wants to tune in at 4 o'clock, I just told him I'd do it. Assad had brought him a ton of artwork that maybe he's trying to avoid scanning some of it and posting it on his website. But he was like, let's show some stuff off. So I told him, as long as he waits till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll do it. So I'll be doing something with Anthony and looking at Assad's work. He did a little interview with him as well that he recorded. So I'll have that as part of the show. As I mentioned last week, because it was omitted, I've got Ken Carson and Jeff Dunn on April 11th. As both of those guys are from 4C Comics, of course, regulars over there. And they're going to be doing an amateur dueling dealer show, which should be a lot of fun. I actually saw Jeff had already put together one of the memes that he was working on, and it was really funny. So I think it'll be a good show. Got Carl Maline. I know I've got to ask him. He'll be on the 16th with me, and that's a Saturday. I literally got all the artwork from him today, and I'm going to be calling him this weekend because he sent me. I mean, it's all published work too that I've not seen before. I wish I had the email in front of me, because he was asking questions like, do you think people would want to see more of this kind of stuff or that kind of stuff? And I'm not going to dig through my email to find it, but I think if the show goes well, we'll probably have him on a couple times. So after, once we see what most collectors are looking for, we can probably have him on again, and then we'll be able to tailor the second time I have Carl on a little bit better. Then the 18th is it's going to be a fun battle between Nick Barucci and Jordan, $500 and under show, amateur show, of course. And then you can see on 425, David Bixler versus the McSpidey guy, Scott Wingo. That'll be another amateur show on the 25th. So I've got a lot of these coming up. And then that same week on Saturday, I've got Joe Linster on at 2 p.m. doing a follow-up show. And apparently he's talking about bringing another pile of covers too. So I guess he's been very, very busy of late and focused a lot on covers. So I was thinking it was going to be more of an interior art sale, but it's now shaping up to be more of a cover event again. So we'll see how that goes. And then Harvey Tollebaugh from Next Comic Art will be on with me on May the 2nd. And it'll be an art sale / chat, but he'll be bringing a lot of Star Wars art with him, since May the 4th is just a couple days after that. And here I can even show you, look at this wonderful preview of David Bixler and the McSpidey man himself. Both of them wearing, it's a DC versus Marvel event for certain. I don't believe that Scott's bringing any McFarlane art with him, but you never know. But look at that wonderful shirt that he found. I mean, has anybody ever seen Stanley with a thigh gap? I shouldn't have covered it up with that word Marvel, but indeed that is what that is. Stanley swinging on a spider web, and he's got as big a thigh gap as Spider-Man's ever had. So I hope he wears that for the event. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, he's like, I just found this. It's great. It's got Stan Lee on it. So it's a whole homogenation of every joke that we've got going on around here. So no Green Arrow or Aquaman, says Marcus. I will be sure to let David Bixler know, since he's on the DC side of things, to not bring any Green Arrow or Aquaman. I promise. If I haven't told him that already, I'll be sure to take care of that. Lacking in bricks, says Rich. That's very true. I'm not going to go over the con schedule. I mean, the upcoming stuff everybody knows. Wicked Comic Con is really the next big show that's coming up. I know a lot of collectors are going to that one. It looks like, Colin's done a lot of good PR. So I just wanted to remind everybody that is next Saturday. So if you're in the Boston area, you should go to it. I mean, I know Bisley's there, and Sean Gordon Murphy's going to be there. And it's going to be a good turnout. Colin's done a whole lot of legwork to make that thing happen. So, he's maintaining everything that I need him to do on CAF, and doing all that. And he does all of his work on convention scene as well. So he really, he does a lot for the hobby, and people need to high five Colin or buy him a drink. He'd probably appreciate a drink more than a high five, but don't do it until after the show is over. So outside of that, the really big event, of course, is Comic Art Live, but we don't need to talk about that yet. I do believe that booth setup will begin next week. One of the things that came up, yeah, I keep getting asked this, and I don't know, I'll throw it out to anybody who wants to send me their comments. But every time, Comic Art Live is a show. My goal with that show was that every time the show happened, it would be new art. It's got to be new art or price to sell. Same thing as Dueling Dealers. The same concept is there. But every show, I always get asked by people, even though I leave their booths open for about a month and a half afterwards, people are like, I never copied the data out of there. I want to be able to reuse it again. Well, what we've done in the past is we always just delete all the data. Anything that you've written, all the images, you start over, because the idea was always that the show should be, all new art. And if it's not new art, you should have to go through the trouble of adding the art back. But I've got like 3 emails from people being like, I really want to have access to everything that I put together last time so I can have it again. So my question to everybody is, should I continue with my approach, which forced everybody to reassess what they wanted to sell by deleting everything, or should I allow them to still have all their inventory and just remove things that they want to get out of there and add the new pieces in? So I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat, but if anybody has any thoughts on that, if you've ever set up at Comic Art Live. See, Jason says not the same stuff. Well, that's really why I did that. I wanted to force people to bring new art every time, because if you're not bringing new art, the show isn't going to be worthwhile for us collectors to spend any time on a weekend. Why would you dedicate a weekend of time to check out Comic Art Live if the sellers are always bringing the same artwork? Delete. NSN Art says delete. Everybody's all right. No, then I'm going to stick with that, because that is exactly why I did it. And again, I give them 2 months after the show that they can access their booth and and clean it out, or at least copy and paste it to Word and then come back and use it. I just don't want to make it that easy for everybody. I want them to bring new art. All right. So Jill Loudon agrees and Bill agrees. Yes, exactly. And Michael from NSN says there's plenty of time to save it at any time. I agree. All right, good. Then I'm sticking with the way I like doing it. That's fine. I just have to remain firm. I'm weak at the end of the day. I don't I start getting a lot of questions about stuff, and then I start thinking maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I'm all wrong here. But all right, I think yep, Jeff Wedding too. Okay, everybody says delete and make new. Not one person said let them have their data back. All right. So, and maybe I should make a note of that as part of it. I email the people who own booths throughout the whole show. I should probably remind myself to put kind of a footer to it, just saying your data will be deleted at the end of the show. If you want a copy of it, you better do it within a week of the show being over. Okay. And the mob has spoken. And Ruben, I totally get it. It's tough to have new art. I mean, this is a collector based show, a selling show by and large. And, most collectors aren't going to be bringing in 48 new pieces every time to sell, but, they should be able to at least supply, if they're going to take the time to set up, that's time that they should be reevaluating what pieces they have for sale and reevaluating what the prices are on them, whether it's raising them or lowering them because of the market changes in 6 months. I don't care, but I think it's a good thing for those collectors that sell during the show to take that time and and reevaluate what they want to show. And I do think that giving them, that's why I want to get the booths open by next Friday, because it literally gives them 7 weeks to prep. So if that's not enough time to prep, then I don't know what is. So all right, I'm sticking with everyone's comments there that's the way to go. And sparkling joy with Bill, guys. Thank you, Mikhail. And then just the final note, of course, everybody knows Heroes Con is where it's all at. It's where it's happening. You got to be there, or you're just going to miss out on the biggest event for comic art collectors in 2022. Of course, Heroes is going to be great. They, I've been emailing a little bit with them on some side plans that they're doing that I think, that will definitely be unique to this show. It's their 40th anniversary. They know we're all coming in mass, and they want to try to make something, I think, interesting for us to see that's outside of all the interesting things they already do. I should probably email them again to see if they've made any progress on the stuff that they mentioned to me. So as soon as I can actually talk about it, I'll let you know. But it's going to be fun. I think that they're really happy to know that we've picked Heroes as a place to get together and they want to make it as interesting for us as they possibly can. And of course, there's going to be a Thursday night get together before the show. It's still undetermined, I think, where we're going to be, but as a Thursday night, we'll probably be doing the CAF update from wherever that is. So as soon as I know more about where that venue is and what we'll be doing, I will fill everybody in. So that is that. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a cool event. Yeah, be there or be square, says Tim. I agree. If you're not there, you're missing out. But I can tell you that, I have talked with Nick Barucci, and Mikhail was in on this, that we really feel that for CAF's 20th anniversary, which will be February 1st of 2023, we want to do something special. And whether that's I'll be in Florida at that point, but we want to try to work out a get together, whether it's we do it at some special venue in Orlando, or heck, there's plenty of parking spaces on my new property. Maybe not, you'd have to bring a tent, but I don't know if you want to camp out in February, but at any rate, we're going to try to work out some kind of art get together for CAF's 20th anniversary. And again, that should be a really fun time. And as soon as I talk a little bit more with Nick, because he wanted to be involved in whatever we were going to do with that, I'll let everybody know. Because don't mark your calendars if you can't make the trip. But we were just thinking, it's a winter destination. As a collector, you look at Alfredo. He left the family at Disney and went and looked at art. You could do the same thing. Bring the family down for a 3 or 4 day vacation, and take one day out to hang out with all of us and enjoy CAF's 20 years in existence. So, as soon as I can get some more information and thought into it, I really want to start thinking about it once I get down to Orlando, and try to work things out logistically from actually being there. But we'll let you know as soon as we have more to go on that. But let's get to the CAF update. Now. So let's see. I've got way too many tabs open at this point because of all the things coming in. But tonight's CAF update, it covers what periods does it cover? I think the 21st through the 27th of March. I should probably double check that. Yeah, 21 through 27. Now, this is an odd sales week, to be honest with you, because it's one of the rare times that the auction houses in a normal week where it's only just a standard eBay and a standard weekly Heritage outsold the dealers, because typically, by and large, other than when a signature auction event happens, the dealers have been outselling the auction houses. But this time around, the dealers sold $232,000 of original art, and eBay and Heritage combined sold $252,000. So really, that's a very down week in general for the hobby. Just little under $480,000 total in sales that we were able to track. So I don't know why that is. They certainly posted a lot of art this past week. So I'm not sure. Maybe I know there were a couple big art drops, so I would assume we'll see a rebound from the dealers over that. Get a sponsor for the CAF update. There's talk of that, believe it or not. I can't say anything about it right now, but I've had people make some inquiries to me about sponsoring some of the things we do here. I think people are finally starting to realize there's a lot of power in the or influence, right? I'm becoming an influencer apparently, and some people are taking notice of that. So I've had inquiries about some stuff, and I don't know. I mean, I'm open to listening to what people are interested in having me talk about, and so we'll see. But I can't really say anything about it till it actually happens. But and yeah, wow, it's almost 10:30 already. No, is it really? Shoot, it is getting late. All right, I got to get this thing moving. And Albert is doing a big art drop tomorrow. Jason has said that, yeah. And Felix had a big art drop today, right? So yeah, the dealers are definitely going to have a very robust week, at least Albert and Felix. So let's get on with the dealer results. Top 6 results last week. Before I do, of course, the panel page art actually had the number 1 sales. They had $94,700 in sales with only 8 total sales from last week. Anthony came in second with 106 sales and just over 60,000 in sales. Berkey next with 14 sales, 34,000, and Splash Page Art 21 sales and $12,200 in sales. Those are the only 4 that were over 10,000 in sales. So again, that's not indicative of a normal week, but you don't have Albert in that list, and you don't have Felix either. So I guess that is why we had a down week, but because neither of those guys were doing any kind of major art drops. So yeah, that's that is an odd. That's again, that's not normal, but that would explain why the dealer sales weren't as good as they normally are. So so let's go ahead and take a look at the top 6 sales from those dealers this last week. All right. So again, total sales $232,750. First up, this is sold by Panel Page, Glenn, of course. Asking price on this one was $65,000. It's the cover to Marvel Tales 28 by Marie Severin. And literally, this thing sold on Heritage now, like 10 years ago for about $10,000. So nice appreciation there. Next up, Spawn number 30 cover, and this is Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane, and it sold for $14,000 from Mike Berkey. Next up is a piece by Assad, sold by Anthony. Asking price was $10,000. This is Eternals Thanos Rises number 1 cover. I think we've seen a happy collector post something about this week. This is the cover to Gambit 3. Artist, of course, is Lee Weeks, and this was sold by Glenn, Panel Page Art, for the asking price of $9,000. And 2 more here. This one, again, Panel Page. Artist Jim Lee drawing a Scooby Apocalypse number 3 cover, sold for $7,500. And finally, this was actually sold by Comic Art House. I don't think I've ever had them in the top 6. Congratulations to Bob on that. The asking price on this one was $6,000. Artist was Megan Hetrick. This is the variant cover to Immortal X-Men number 7, Hellfire Gala variant edition. Final art. I'm just reading through the whole title. Final art issue 07 page cover. Okay. So there you have it. And gosh, you know what that just reminded me of? Catskill Comics is not getting their data reported into my market data. And I keep forgetting to remind Maureen about that. So I don't know why that just popped in my head. But so there you go. The top 6 sales from dealers and Comic Art House finally making the grade on our list here. So let's move over to the auction houses. Again, pretty average, but let's see. They had 252,000 in sales, and that was compared to 275,000 in sales the prior week. So the top 3 sales from eBay will be first, and top 3 from Heritage next. So, yep, 252,000. 152 of that was with eBay, and just 100,000 for Heritage last week on their weekly auction. So this first piece is by Jack Kirby, Joe Sinnott. Fantastic 481 page 16, sold for $14,900 at auction. Next up, I think this probably was from the same seller, another Kirby Sinnott FF piece. This was from issue 70, page 17. Sold for about half of that first one, $7,900. And finally, this is a Tony Daniel Champions Outlawed number 1 cover. Reported as $6,000, but a make offer of $4,000 was accepted on that. So again, yeah, you can make good offers and get sales and collect art. Next up, what do we got here? Heritage. First piece is a Ron Lim, Al Milgram Infinity War number 2 DPS, sold for $5,520. Next piece is by Janice Valou, Young King Cole, volume 3, number 1 and 2, 4 pages. It sold for $5,280. Not familiar with the artist. And finally, by Jaime Hernandez, Love and Rockets, number 27, page 6. It sold for $4,560. So there you go. That was the Heritage sales. Heritage had 26 sales that exceeded $1,000 in total, and eBay only had 18. So as always, Heritage has the better pieces. Heritage had to make up their 100,000. They sold 186 pieces. For eBay to reach 152,000, they had 767 sales. So as we know, that's normal. I never kind of mentioned that part of the market data. I assume most of you probably read the market data reports and kind of understand the level of that. But yes, there we go. Jill says, "Heck yes, James with that week's." Exactly. Yeah, James was a very happy man, as he should be. And McKill says Jim loves Scooby. All right, so we're going on to the CAF picks, and I have a guest tonight who's waited very long in the green room, and I do apologize, but let me bring this gentleman into the stream. Aranga, hey man, how are you?
Hey Bill, I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, your mic is amazing.
Oh shoot, is it like am I booming in?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know what well, to me, but it might just be me. And we'll see what everybody says.
Pull the
Oh,
sucker off to the side. There. How
Wow.
about that?
Is that new?
Yeah, I've had it for about a month or so.
What's the brand on that?
It's the one you had before. Is it Arctic? Is that right? What is it called?
The one I had was one of those blue. I can't remember. It's
Blue.
away.
Yeah, that's right. That's a color. Yeah, that's what it was. That's
Okay.
what it is. Yeah, that's what it says. It says blue. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you've got a new nickname, Mr. 4C, says Mikhail.
Oh.
Yeah, congratulations on that, by the way. I was watching the show when you guys made the announcement.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
awesome.
It's been nice. I've known Jeff and Ken for a very long time. And we've just kind of circled each other quite a bit, and the timing just seemed right. And it's been a cool week because of that.
That's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, hey, I have to tell you something. Let me just double check. I got so many texts here, but I did get this text. What was I was supposed to tell you something. Oh, there was a box sent to you, Aranga. There was that you are supposed to open today. Do you know anything about that? That there was a box that you got and or did you open it already?
Listen, anyone that knows me knows not to send me stuff and tell me not to open it. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, can you show us?
Wait, are you talking about from Scott Wingo? Oh.
Yes, and with and Nick Barucci had a little bit to do with what he sent as well. And do you have it? Is it anywhere near you?
Yeah, it's across. You want me to get? Oh, okay.
Yeah, even Jill Loudon saying, "What's in the box? Come on, I want to see it too. You got to show it off."
All right. So look, just in case someone asked or whatever, I sealed the box back up. Just to be.
See, hey, well, that's funny. We did the exact same thing. I had to have Maureen look at what was in the box that I got because I didn't know what it was. All right. Well, just act surprised, Aranga.
I mean, I'm already surprised. I didn't know this was going to be like an unboxing video here, or I might have not done it.
Hey, it's okay. Hey, it's hard to have secrets out there, but
but
this was a special one. I mean,
it is. You guys are. I'm kind of a little shocked right now. I didn't realize this was going to be going on today.
Well,
so I don't know. Do you want me to kind of?
Yeah.
Tell you?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So, So Mr. Scott Wingo, geez, that's a lot of reflection on it, right?
That's good.
And Nick Barucci with Dynamite. Scott had me do a commission of Red Sonja for him, which I thought was kind of weird for Scott, but he went out and he worked with Nick, and they got a variant for Red Sonja. So it's like a published cover of mine, and they send me a box of it. I don't know what to say, man. I'm kind of blown away by this thing. Like, you should have seen when I opened it. I felt bad, like I ruined a surprise or whatever. But I was speechless for like the longest time. I can't even hold it up straight. I'm sorry. I'm not doing this really well.
No, that's beautiful, really beautiful. And congratulations. I mean, how incredible is that?
Thank you. I really am blown away by it. It's it's a super generous thing, for someone to do, to go out on a limb, and do that. So, Mr. Scott Wingo, major props and much love for doing that. And Nick Barucci, of course, for approving it. I don't know. I wasn't expecting to talk about it, so I'm at a loss for words, which doesn't usually happen much to me.
Well, like Ruben just said, you are now a published cover artist, and you should bask in the glory, man. I mean, that's so great. It really is. I mean, and I'm glad. Yeah, Scott was going to try to be here with me tonight, but I think something came up. That's why he had texted me, letting me know that if he wasn't able to make it, that I had to make sure that you did open the box. And,
so there was collusion.
There was. So I mean, hey, I wanted to have you on, but you know that when I was asked about it, I said, well, you know, I need somebody to do my 10 picks, so why don't I have a Ranga on for that? And then we can, you know, then whatever whatever it was, because he didn't tell me what the surprise was. He just said, can I have 5 minutes or something on Friday? And I'm like, oh, sure, whatever you want, you know. And so no, but that's, man, I wish Nick were here too. I mean, but this is great. I mean, you're one of our own, Aranga. You know, you're on camera almost as much as I am, practically. So, you know.
No, I'm just gonna bumble my way through this now, man. I'm like, you completely threw me off my game here. It's just such a cool thing. It's not something I ever saw like ever happening. It wasn't like a goal I set for myself or anything like that. You know what I mean, Bill?
Yeah.
It was something it was this thing I was doing for fun, and I'm, people I've met have been like super kind. People have been sharing stuff on CAF and things like that. And I got a couple more things kind of in the works now, which hopefully should be coming through like Scout Comics. Sorry, I didn't mean this to be a plug thing. I didn't realize like.
No, please plug away.
Well, I've got a couple of covers coming out through Scout Comics in April for their book called Cancelled. And then 3 more at the end of the year that's scheduled. So yeah, I guess I suck at self-promotion, Bill. This has become the worst show. Sorry.
Well, I mean, is there any word? I mean, somebody had said, well, where can we buy them? Are you going to have them at Heroes, or are they going to be available through Nick's store sometime?
Yeah, I truly don't know. So I know some of the details. I've got like a bunch of books that Scott sent to me very generously. So I'll be bringing them to Heroes with me for sure. And I will, destroy the art by signing it. And, I might throw some remarks on it. And then, I might be with the guys at the 4C booth. So if anyone wants to stop by and, get a copy for yourself, let's do it. For Jason, that price is going to be at least $50.
Yeah,
Jason. I'm kidding. Yeah. Jason's he's gonna get himself a copy. Yeah, you totally threw me off my game, man.
Well, I'm not good at at these things either, but it would have been better if Scott or Nick could have been hanging out with us. But no, Ranga, I mean, congratulations. I mean, you've been doing great commissions for everybody. We've been seeing them posted in the one chat on Facebook that we're both in the collectors. So it's been great. I mean, and nobody deserves it more. I mean, you've done this as a passion. It's you've got another job, you got a real job, but this is something you've been wanting to do for so long. And everybody, it's a great thing to realize your dreams, man. And I'm excited for you. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and getting to work with 4C now as well. I mean, you've got everything's in front of you right now. It's like I'm just excited for you.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks.
Couldn't happen to be a nicer guy.
Thanks, Bill. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who were super kind. I'm going to get like verklempt, Bill. But no, everyone was being like super kind in the comments as well. Thanks for that. And there's no agenda. I really hope it goes somewhere. But if it doesn't, I'm already living my dream with seeing something that I did kind of printed on a book. And thanks to Nick Barucci, if I didn't say that earlier too. Very kind of you, Nick.
All right. Well, hey, again, couldn't happen to a nicer guy, and Jason's giving me a hard time because I should be looking at your art on CAF because that's where it is too. I know. So yeah, and Ruben says first they published Dynamite cover, and next quitting your day job. So
yeah, I'm not letting my wife see that part. Yeah.
Probably wise. Probably.
Yeah. She's like, "You thinking of what?" Okay, yeah. But no, she's been super supportive. I don't want to make it sound like she's not. She's very supportive.
Very good. Well, you got to have that. I mean, if it wasn't for Maureen, I wouldn't have none of this. I wouldn't be here today. And I today when I had those guests over, I said the same thing. It's like, wow, if Maureen hadn't come around when she did, we wouldn't have CAF. I mean, we wouldn't have all this fun stuff. So
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's got to be bizarre for them, right? Like, I don't know. Was Maureen ever into the hobby?
No, that was one of the questions they asked me too. She was,
Okay.
she was a Trekkie and and Doctor Who fan. So I
Okay.
mean, so before I had met her, she had done a one of those weird like tours of London where it was a Doctor Who tour. So they took her to set places or outdoors places where they had filmed stuff. So she was a nerd. She was definitely a nerd, but she wasn't really into comic books.
Gotcha.
So and
Kind
even
of
today,
adjacent, though. I mean, they're adjacent things for sure.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
so she doesn't feel out of her element as far as things go. But yeah, at the end
That's
of the day,
cool.
she's more of a sci-fi fan than she is a comic book fan.
That's cool. My wife has no idea what's going on.
I was just gonna say, what about you?
She has no idea. She's super supportive. She's sweet as all get out. She acts like super thrilled for me when I tell her stuff like, hey, I mean, that comes down to even when I get new art, right? She always acts like super thrilled, but I know she doesn't. She's like, cool.
She's just keeping you happy.
Yeah, that's right.
I know. I do the same thing with Maureen. I'm like, look what I got today. She's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so why don't we talk about some art? Because you did do 10 picks, and I think this is it's a good set. Let me get my screen shared here, and I might have to resize it a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah, got it all totally the wrong size here. All right. Okay. But no, this was again, I wanted to have you on too because I felt like having an artist perspective on for picks as well would be fun. I mean, because you're out there and you're active right now, so you're always in the back of my mind to have to invite as a guest for doing this. So I'm glad that we're able to do this today.
No, absolutely, I loved it. I hate having to follow Chris on the show because he's like just super thoughtful in how he does this. So sorry to disappoint everyone. I'll let you guys know right off the bat. But okay, so Moon Knight #9 cover. I'm sure it was released a time with the zeitgeist right now with the Disney Plus show. But I mean, come on. I mean, MC Escher on steroids, right? It's the intertwining staircases. It's Corey Smith, by the way, is the artist. You look at the staircases, and everything's done in perspective. He didn't make it easy on himself, obviously. He still maintains like proper perspective, kind of vanishing points in the right spot, etc., etc. But it's doubly hard because he's trying to homage the Escher's relativity, right? It's so easy to ignore. You look at all the cool window dressing with the staircases in the background and stuff like that, and it's really easy to ignore how cool Moon Knight looks. Just that central image, yes, but like him appearing from above on the top left and off the side. I think it's incredible. A beautiful piece by Corey.
No, it really is, and I love the fact that the main the main character of the four here is just so is off kilter. He didn't choose to make it a comfortable view of Moon Knight here. You're front and center. He's the one who's really off center of all the three.
Exactly,
or of all the four, I should say. Yeah, no, this was really cool, and I missed this. I was glad you picked it because I'm on CAF all day long, and I didn't see this piece until you sent me your list. So
yeah.
Eagle eye.
And what's funny about it, Bill, is like I'm still like a reader of modern comics, right? I didn't stop reading comics, but I see stuff like this, and I'm like, I've never seen this cover before. Like I'd never seen it, and I read the Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey Moon Knight run, and then the Greg Smallwood one. Never seen this cover, and it's a shame because it's a fantastic cover. And it's in the gallery of C. Bailey. So congrats to you, C. Bailey.
Oh, C. Bailey. I
Yeah.
don't know if I've been in their CAF gallery in a while. Oh, here it is. They actually uploaded a color or the printed version. And it's not loading.
I think there were like two covers. The regular cover, and they recolored it for the variant. Oh, maybe I'm like thinking of something else. It just looks like one cover.
Well, we'll find out. Timothy says MC Escher is my favorite MC.
As he should be. As he should be. Marcus says he thought it was Squid Game. Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of the first thing I thought too when I saw it. But yeah. Let's see. Next piece
is Hellboy by Artyom Trakhanov, and I love this guy, right? The Mad Russian, dude's out of like St. Petersburg, and he really is. He's mad. He brings a great graphic design sensibility to his work. Like if you look at it, so he's got the a lot of high contrast again, which you'll see that as a common thread running through most of my picks. I'm very predictable that way. And you got Hellboy. Okay, spoiler alert here, Bill. People are gonna hate me. I've never read an issue of Hellboy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, you've
Yeah.
seen the movies?
See the movies. See the movies. But like if I guess I should have done some research to figure out who these characters are. But there's like a dragon curling through it. You see the little bat wings back there. There's a dude sitting or standing on top with his staff or whatever. But it's really interesting how he's picked to render Hellboy, right? Like there's a lot of squares inside him, kind of forming, the cast shadows and the blacks, and that dragon, crocodile, alligator. Looks
I
great.
haven't read a lot of Hellboy myself. I've read probably like four of the series, but it's been a while.
Okay.
But, no, I love this. I love the image too. I mean, this is another one that I missed when I was going through my picks. So I'm glad you got it. But yeah, I like the treatment on Hellboy. There's a lot of little pieces in here that are kind of maybe nods to Mike Mignola, in the way that it's inked with those little triangles and things. But
yeah,
I like the fact that Hellboy himself is drawn, rather differently. Like you said, with all the squares and just the patterns that make up his figure. And I just thought it was very cool. It's definitely a different approach than I've ever seen as a take on Hellboy or really any comic related character drawing. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm glad you picked it.
His commissions I love it. I have a commission. I have a Ghost Rider commission from him, and I usually trend towards, Danny Ketch or Johnny Blaze, and he was like, "Hey, what about oh shoot, what's the new Ghost Rider's name? Whatever. He has the car." He was like, "What about him?" And if an artist says, "Okay, what about blah blah blah?" I'm never gonna say like, "No, just pick the version that I want." And he knocked it out of the park. Similar kind of aesthetic. Like with a little bit of the graphic design sensibility and the shapes forming, it's almost like a digitizing effect, right? On Hellboy. Unfortunately, I don't think you can zoom in on this.
No, this is probably a non-premium member, Justin Soroy.
Yeah, that's right.
Severed Books. Well, well, we gotta. If there was a way that I could push out to them that we featured their art and it wasn't in its grandest format, then maybe that would encourage more premium members on CAF one day.
Right.
I'll have to add that to my to-do list. And yep. And so here's another one. We can't zoom in on this by Max Fiamara, but man, this was a really nice piece. I love the shadow on the bricks. Everybody.
Yeah. I was almost gonna skip it, and then I saw the bricks, and I was like, "Hey, let me earn some CAF points by picking something that's got bricks." Robbie Reyes, sorry, George, of course. Robbie Reyes was the Ghost Rider, the new Ghost Rider, etc. Sorry, not to derail things. Thanks, George. I picked this one again. Storytelling, the perspective work, the it's chiaroscuro at its best. Wonderful high contrast silhouettes, everything that's like fits right in my wheelhouse that I dig. The choices he's made to only render the bricks that the shadows hit and then leave the light where it is. I think it's wonderful. But I picked it mostly because of the bricks, because I wanted cool points.
You got the cool points tonight. For many reasons, but yeah, I mean, everything about it, it's a really well executed page. I love the silhouette in the center panel at the bottom. it's beautiful. And yeah, I'm not. I know Max has been doing a lot of work lately, but I've not seen the this page before. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. And I haven't read that storyline either, Bill. But
Mm-mm.
like I know you and Chris discuss this quite a bit, like on your shows when you're doing this.
Mhm.
The color, and he has a color image of it, the printed image, steals so much of the effect from this original art. To me, at least, it just
Oh yeah, wow.
right.
Yeah, the rain going over the top of it just really takes away from the overall image. Wow,
Yeah,
that's disappointing.
strange choices. So yeah, owning that art, it's another reason why owning the OA is so
Oh,
dope. Yeah,
I agree. I agree. And and that's again something that the average comic reader just is never going to be able to appreciate unless they start collecting original comic art or stumble into CAF. Yeah, the published piece just does not do the artwork justice.
right, right.
Wow.
And as a colorist, you really got to try to get into the head of the artist. And there's, I always thought like artists are kind of temperamental and in picking their colorists and stuff like that. But there's a reason for that, right? There's a level of
Sure.
trust that goes into it. And once you found a colorist who you've worked with for a while, yeah. So anyway, not to beat that dead horse, but black and white, way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And high contrast again. I'm sensing a theme, but now you've like diverged from it with this pick.
Yeah. This is actually a Venom commission that I guess became a variant to Venom #6. It's by Martin Simons of Department of Truth fame, and it's in the gallery of Kelsey S. or S. Kelsey, one of the two. He's been doing some really, really creative commissions lately. I've seen them kind of slowly filter out into the world, and just really like nothing that's out there. What struck out to me with this is we're so used to seeing Venom portrayed, with these deep blacks, and this with the haze around it and kind of almost like a dreamlike quality to it is kind of unique in the space as far as how he's represented. He still looks like the size of a building. I mean, he's massive. You got the tongue,
Right.
But like I love the little bits of texture he's added. The splashes, the spatter of white, very reminiscent of Sienkiewicz,
Sure.
who's actually a big influence. Martin has mentioned that Bill is a big influence, but love how this looks.
Yeah, no, it's fabulous. I mean, when I saw it, it blew me away. I mean, because I'm a big fan of Sienkiewicz anyway, so I see that and I see the style, and I knew it wasn't Bill's work, but yeah, this thing is amazing. And now, what did Mikhail say? Every commission from this list was fantastic. So I guess I need to do a little bit more digging. I don't spend enough time on social media, so I miss out on stuff. But clearly, I missed out on a lot if I didn't see other commissions that were done in this kind of to this level. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, jealous, very jealous. And I'm not even like a huge, someone else mentioned it, I'm not even a huge Venom fan, but a beautiful image is a beautiful image. I mean, it's just neat.
Yep, I agree. Let's see. I'm gonna have to leave that one. I'm gonna check out Simmons' work. Is there a lot on CAF?
There should be quite a few. Oh, that's that first one there is Kyle Blackwell's. That's he got a magic, and it's done in like as an homage to Gustav Klimt.
Klimt's, yeah. Wow, look at that. That's really nice.
So
Dang.
unique, right? And day and night difference between that and the Venom.
Right. And it's cool that he did it, Warlock to make the Gustav Klimt reference.
Right.
That's beautiful. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
He does some really great, unique stuff. I'm trying to remember who reps him. Cadence, maybe? Is that right? I'm gonna goof that up. But anyway, yeah, check out his work. I think you'd really dig it.
Oh, see that I'd seen the Lord of the Rings painting. I didn't realize, I didn't even check to see who the artist was. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but it wasn't one that I would have picked the feature. And I think it was a couple weeks ago. But wow, no, they're fantastic.
Yeah, unique. Just
Yep.
I love having these unique voices in comics, right? It's always nice to see people who pick up that baton from the Sienkiewicz and that crowd and run with
Oh,
it.
see, Mikhail's already he's like thinking for me. He even said earlier, Bill will love the magic plus warlock that he did, and I do. You were right, Mikhail.
Yeah.
Cadence is the rep, and he also adds that he's the main artist on Department
Department of Truth. Yeah, yeah. I know Mikhail loves this guy. Oh, this is the cover to Magic Order issue 5. It's by Ryan Sook, and it is in the gallery of Alan Hamilton. Okay, here's what I loved about this. Right, there's a lot going on. You got the trademark. Like Sook just makes everyone look good. All his characters just look great. Like walked off the cover of a magazine, great, like a good magazine, except for that guy at the bottom. But anyway, it plays a ton of tricks with the eyes, right? It just looks like a standard portrait, like a standard family portrait when you look at it. And then you see the floating cat-like eyes. So that's obviously not, maybe in the same plane, maybe it's not. Then you work your way down to the bottom center, and you see that guy standing there with the car, and you're like, okay, so is this like a montage? Because there's a cityscape behind it. He's used the checkered floor to kind of make that stand out or bleed in. And then you got that lightning bolt that runs through. You'll notice it runs from, actually, if you look at the variation in the thickness of the main stem of the bolt, so it's running from top left all the way down to the car. But as they fracture off, it also looks like it's coming from the dude's wand. He's holding a wand in his hand, so the lightning kind of connects there as well. It's a tricky piece, right? It's a tricky piece.
It really is.
And it's a. I love these pieces that you can spend. I mean, I still haven't spotted everything that's in this thing, and you could spend an hour just kind of going through it. Love it.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. The details wonderful, and I mean, Sookie, he's just got such a beautiful quality to his line work. I mean, it was brushwork on it. It's just phenomenal. I mean, look at this. Yeah, I could stare at this for days. And you're right. You just keep discovering new things in the artwork the whole time.
Yeah, I love that he could make it like it starts off like a mundane portrait, and
right.
The more you look at it, you're like, well, that's not a portrait. There's other things going on here. It's very cool.
I would agree. And there's you put with the published image. Oh, too small. Let's see. Is the next one bigger? Here you go. So that's how it's colored.
Wow. Oh, okay. It's nice. Still loses quite a bit, right?
It does. Yeah.
I thought I saw a black and white one where it was like kind of like a what do they call it? A virgin variant.
Right.
And that's the way to go with this cover, really.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
The original is always the best.
Yeah. There's colorists everywhere that are like, these two guys just suck.
Oh man. All right. So here we've got something by Wes Craig.
Yep.
And from Deadly Class, and it's in Corey. What's Corey Green?
Corey Green Gallery. Yeah.
Oh, and this is a big scan. All right.
Right. Yeah. So it's I guess it's a DPS, right? It's two connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Totally emotional pick for me. I love this book. I know Mikhail's probably #1 fan. I'm somewhere in the top 100 of fans, but I love the book. So it was definitely an emotional pick because the Deadly Class is wrapping up its final arc right now, so it's coming to an end. But the cover has a lot of the central characters. You got Marcus Maria, you got Saya, you got Willie. Some dead, some alive. I'm not going to spoil who's who. But hey, Bill, guess what? High contrast again. Man,
exactly.
You're never going to have me because I keep bringing the same crap.
I wasn't going to say it. I mean, I thought it, but I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah. So simplistic, right? Like, deep, rich blacks, a lot of blacks on it. The gowns with the white shirts, some figures in shadow, metaphorical. Yeah. It tells a story, like the way the characters are looking at each other, the way they're looking at, you know, certain characters, some mad, some not, some in shadow, some not. I think whether you read the book, whether you've read the series or not, it tells a story. It stands on its own.
Yeah,
So much so that you almost
beautiful.
ignore the fact that there's a whole ton of ninja stars and knives raining down on them.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
well, you know, Marcus didn't miss that. He said it was enchantment under the ninja stars.
Boom! There you go, Mark,
Yeah.
man. I mean, Hallmark needs to hire this guy ASAP.
Yes, but yeah, he wouldn't take the job.
Oh heck no! Heck
Yeah,
no.
no, this is
Hallmark still a thing? Like, do they still put out cards, or is that like ancient reference?
I would assume they do. I mean, American Greetings is still around. I mean, they're actually based in Cleveland. I mean, you know, they're heavily digital and stuff and everything, but yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't be.
Right on. Okay. Am I taking up too much time on each pick, Bill?
No.
Or are you making good time? Okay.
No. Hey, I mean, unless you're starting to get sleepy, Yoranga.
No, I'm wide awake, man. I'm jazzed.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I mean, you know, Chris and I run to you know, after 11 before, and we are after 11 right now. So no, timing's good.
Okay. So this is Bill. I don't know. Have I been preempting your intros? Youngblood, number 10 cover. Rob Liefeld. It's in the gallery of George Hodge. I picked this nostalgia alone. Nostalgia galore, right? It's rare to see Liefeld draw Spawn. There's a little bit of a historical connection to it because Spawn and, you know, McFarlane Spawn and Liefeld's Chapel, they were connected in the origin story, and then falling out, blah blah blah, retcon of that, etc. And Hallmark Liefeld touches biceps. Take out those biceps; they're the size of barrels.
They are.
Thighs the size of like tree trunks. But
Go big or go home was Rob's motto.
Right. But wait for it. Scroll down, Bill.
All right.
If you scroll, look at those two things. Feet.
What the heck?
Take that, internet. Yeah. So, yeah, Gallery of George Hodge. I was super happy to see George get this. Just reeks of nostalgia. I mean, I remember this cover really well. Yeah, Rob drawing Spawn.
Yeah, well, congratulations to George. I know he was really, really pleased when he added this to his CAF, and it's always great when you get to pick up something that you really are, you know, you love, and you really you looked for a great example, and now you got exactly what you wanted. So,
right,
yeah, it's always a great feeling.
Right,
and you know, and there is high contrast in this one as well. I will say that maybe not as much as the other ones.
Man, you think, I mean, maybe it's not just because I love high contrast work. Maybe it's because, like, when you're scrolling through, like, holy cow, man, Bill, like, how do you and Chris do this week in and week out? Like, it was such a heavy lift, like, you know, to go look through it. But they really do kind of pop when you see something with that level of contrast when you're going through thumbnails. So, yeah, that might have a little bit to do with it, too.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I mean, we all enjoy it. I think it's added a great element to the show just to be able to take the time to look at the art and talk about why we appreciate it. Because not everybody looks at the art in the same way. You know, sure. I mean, if I hadn't have known the back, I'm not a big Liefeld fan, but I always love a good story on why people pick the art that they do. Yeah, and and so that to me is just as important as the art itself in a lot of reasons. I mean, it's why we as collectors, are collecting art. I mean, there's right. Like you said, this is a pure nostalgia thing for many of us on our picks. I mean, and I think every week that I've had a pick, I always have one that's a pure nostalgia one where I just couldn't pass it up. I know I've got one coming up. So yeah. And
it's definitely not in terms of like, I mean, look at the sheer artistry of this. But but I mean, I think this cover, like whenever or if George ever decides to part with it, should come with a premium because of the 2 feet.
I agree. I'm not going to argue with you on that. Here, let me get an extra like on here for George. Congratulations, George, and Danny Mickey Inks too. Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So a John Bolton piece
Yes.
in in Malvin's collection too.
Yeah, Malvin B. I guess it's a cover to, oh, it's a splash page in The Green Woman. I had no idea what The Green Woman was, and it's a horror book. Um,
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either.
yeah, but anytime, I mean, you can't go wrong with John Bolton. I had to pick it. I was not gonna scroll through and get a chance to be on the show and ignore a John Bolton piece. So I love the worm's eye view perspective. It's tough to pull off, especially with the female figure. But he nails it. It's a tough thing to pull off and make the character still good. And I'm always impressed by people who understand color theory, but use non-complementary colors to great effect. Right? But yeah, my number one reason was it's John Bolton.
No, it's very. I've never heard of the story, but I always love John Bolton.
Yeah.
And Malvin has an incredible CAF collection for those of you who've never spent any time in Malvin's CAF. You definitely should.
Right.
He's got a great eye, and even that's why I was curious too. He didn't even write a description on it. I mean, maybe that's all. Malvin doesn't write descriptions. I don't know, but I was hoping for a little bit more information on the piece.
Hey, it did make me Google the book. So.
Oh, well, okay. I'll have to look into it too. I love John Bolton as well.
Yeah. So Marcus did mention something. I didn't realize there was. Is there nudity here? I think it's up to interpretation. So.
It's up to the interpretation. Yeah. I think most people would interpret that there is nudity.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's not giving you a hard time.
Okay. So this is Invasion number 1. It's in the gallery of Derek Crabb, and it's by Rob's best friend, Todd McFarlane. I figured it was appropriate because, again, Moon Knight is out right now. I wanted to have another Moon Knight piece to showcase here, and I'd had no idea that McFarlane had ever drawn Moon Knight before.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm just busting on Derek. But in all seriousness, it's the Spectre. It's the Spectre. It's a DC page. But I mean, when Derek showed it up, the first thing I thought when I saw it was like, "Holy cow, it's Moon Knight!" Yeah, great single splash to kick it off. I mean, one of the better examples that I've seen of McFarlane's work at DC. Derek mentioned something pretty interesting in his write-up for this, which is that the red parts of those stats that are in there, they were meant to remain without a black outline because it's supposed to show like a portal or some kind of effect. So in the original book, in the newsprint version, they printed it out that way, which is I think the second image on there. So no outline on it. They colored it as it was supposed to, the intention of the artist or the editor, whoever that was. But in the digital edition, which is the third image,
look at that.
They added an outline around it, which does kind of reduce that effect a little bit.
It does.
Yeah.
Because the original, okay. Huh. That's
totally ignored the will of the artist. But congrats, Derek. That's a great looking McFarlane.
See, Tim Finn was going to give you a hard time. He was going to type that. This is.
I was counting on triggering quite a few DC fans.
Yes, but yeah. I know Ruben. That's Moon Knight? Question mark. Oh man, but it was funny that when I first saw the pic too, I thought the same thing. I'm like, why does that look like Moon Knight? And then when I read through it, and I'm like, but then you see, Aranga, you've kind of helped keep the levity as part of the show. We don't always have a lot of that.
I'm just telling Derek, like, as I like to give like investment advice on art. Like, if you ever sell this, market it as Moon Knight. I mean, I bet you could like quadruple the price, like right now.
Yeah, Derek's laughing. He is laughing. Oh man, well, good, a very good pick, of course, and nice. That's just, it is interesting the things that happens to the art after the artist's intentions are sometimes followed and sometimes not at all.
Right.
So that's good. Congratulations, Derek. That's a really great piece added to your collection.
Yep, absolutely.
And we've got one more here.
Hey,
by
look at that.
Rudy
He's that
Nemrod.
guy I've never read a book of.
Mhm.
It's Hellboy by Rudy Nebres. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yes.
Nebres? Okay. It's in the gallery of Mr. Eric DLS. I just thought it's another super cool image, specifically because like he's used nearly every color in the palette on it. I envy people who can see color that way. I mean, there's like browns and obviously the reds, but blues, greens, lavenders, purples, browns, blacks. It's just forget the fact that the figure looks fantastic, the rendering on the clothing looks fantastic. Just textures all over the place in this thing. Couldn't be more different from Mignola, but it's beautiful. He hasn't left a color out on the spectrum, I don't think. But another reason I really liked this piece was Eric's write-up to it. Just kind of talking about him delving into his own Filipino heritage and kind of looking at the contribution of the Philippines to our art form, to comic books, which really continues to this day, right? I mean, you've had an entire squadron of people from the Philippines with Jiggy on here. I mean, that's continuing. That's continuing to this day. So it's really neat. I'm looking forward to where his dive takes him.
Now Rudy's, he, like everybody has said, he's knocking him out of the park even now in his 80s. I mean, and he's full of tech, like you said. Everything you said is just what we expect out of a Nebres piece. Lots of texture, an amazing eye for color. I mean, I never when I was trying to make art, when I was younger, I couldn't figure out color to save my life. I mean, and so I'm the same way. I look at stuff like this and I'm just impressed that you can pull all that together and make it cohesive. It's not, I'm not confused. And, I look at it and it's so intentional, his palette, but I could never see it. There's no way on earth that I could sit down in front of a black and white illustration and like a coloring book and just say, I'm going to use all these colors.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it work. And he does just an amazing job with this. This is beautiful.
I mean, they tell you use a color wheel and like kind of look at complementary colors, like whether it's, triple or quadruple or whatever that is. He's used everything here. I mean, and it looks great. It doesn't look muddy. It pops. There's softness where it needs to be soft, and it's super cool. Congrats, Eric. It's a great piece.
Yeah, and Eric's is another CAF gallery that I'm sure most of us, he's been a longtime CAF member, so I'm sure everybody's seen Eric's his CAF gallery. But it's one that you can spend a lot of time in. He's a big fan of Art Adams, as everybody knows. So he's got a lot of stuff by Adams in there. But yeah, this is a nice pickup. And the great thing about Eric, he always puts a big write-up in the majority of the pieces that he posts. I mean, look at that. I mean, I haven't read it yet. I'm going to have to read it now. So I'm going to leave this tab open so I can go back to it. But that's one of the great things. He's always kind of given you a lot of detail on why he picks up pieces and why art's special to him. And, that's something we've been talking a lot about lately, that we're seeing a lot more people spend time putting in, lengthy descriptions on why they chose the artworks that they've chosen, or they're giving a little bit of backstory or history on the creators as well. And I think that's all great additions and contributions to make CAF an even better place to have all that, those write-ups. So for all the Malvins that are out there that don't want to write anything, I like the Eric DLS that choose to write a novel.
Kind of balancing things out, right? Like
exactly.
Didn't I hear like you and maybe Anthony talking about, or maybe it was just you doing something about the history of like the Filipino creators, and was that you?
I think that was Anthony. He's been wanting to put something together, and I'll have to follow up with him to see how serious he was about that, because I thought he was actually talking about doing an interview with Rudy.
Yeah.
But I think he's mentioned that a couple times on Dueling Dealers, but he's never really said anything to me afterwards. I'm going to see him tomorrow, so I I will ask him about that. I'd be curious to see if he's serious or not. I mean, he's done a lot of interviews with creators. The problem is he's not he doesn't have anybody to edit his material, so none of it's seen the light of day. Other than I know, like he did an interview with Joe Sinnott, so that ended up making it out there. But I know he shot one with Ramona Fraden that's never been released. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna have to like take over his video editing and get some of these things out there.
I was about to say, like, Bill, are you trying to say Anthony needs an editor?
Well, he actually did have one, but the guy left him. I have no idea why. I mean, Anthony's he's probably not easy to work for.
That guy probably got tired of editing pasty and diaper videos. That's probably why.
That's probably a big reason.
He was like, I went to film school.
Right, and here, and I knew the guy because I had talked to him on the side a few times. He was, because he was feeding me the videos and things, and yeah, he wanted to work in like sports. He wanted to do more like live TV and stuff. So maybe he finally found a real gig. But yeah, filming Anthony semi-naked on a regular basis probably just turned him off.
It broke him. It
did. It did. I won't suggest that to Anthony. It'd probably break his heart. I mean,
don't do that. I mean,
but he's been lamenting it though ever since the guy left, because he really relied on this guy to do all this work for him, and now he's got nobody. So like the last 2 months, but he's been on this weird kick of doing all these memes with Sharon. Sharon's finally got all the energy. I mean, and that's why he's been.
His game.
He has. I mean, he's already been like, we're doing this theme next week, Bill. Either you have to keep up the pace, or we're just gonna leave you in the dust. So I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna be able to be a part of his meme.
You created a monster, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you're responsible for this.
Yeah. Well, what am I gonna do? I mean, now everybody knows that Anthony actually does have a sense of humor. He's not he is the gruff guy that everybody knows, but he can actually smile sometimes, and I think it's all Sharon. I really think with Sharon at his side, he's a little bit more relaxed than normally, the way we're all used to seeing him. But hey, whatever. I'm glad I've helped him improve his image a bit. So we're gonna get to my 10 picks now, and let's see. I'm gonna load it up right here. So, I still have Paul Smith X-Men on the brain, and I haven't liked any of these yet. This is from Bill J's collection. Congratulations, Bill. Bill's, just building on a continually amazing collection on CAF. I mean, I love Paul Smith's work, as everybody knows. He was in my top 5 of X-Men artists, and and I think we even talked about this story recently when we're talking about like favorite X-Men stories. Maybe it was on that same episode where the bar fight was always one of my favorite stories, and so and then this popped up like a week after that, and so yeah, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to highlight it. Just a beautiful cover. And I mean, Juggernaut looks pretty tough.
Yep.
No, and
love well deserved. Yeah, it would have been a travesty to leave this one off.
Yep, I agree. Even Jason says he's jealous of this one. Of course you are jealous, Jason. You should be. And yeah, I don't know if Bill's here. He was here earlier, wasn't he? He was in at the start, but maybe he's gone to sleep by now. But you never know. But again, great pickup. I love seeing any addition to Bill's CAF gallery. It's like several people whose galleries I follow, and I just love seeing updates from like Dino, Jason. I mean, everybody's been posting such phenomenal pieces lately and stuff that because I've never seen this piece before, and I just love it. I love the detail. Look at even Colossus's shoe is pretty shredded there. It's probably what happened when he switched over, but right. Still, lots of fun details in there. I think clearly, Wolverine loved watching Colossus get his rear end kicked because he was sobbing about something. I don't even remember the story precisely. I just remember the bar fight as being my favorite part of the whole darn thing. But
you gotta love it, right? Like, I mean, even just adding that tiny little detail, like just Wolverine, I think a cigarette in his mouth or like a straw or whatever, smirk on his face, not trying to help. I mean, just the storytelling and the body language of those characters. Not too many people do it better than Paul.
Nope. Nope, not at all. And Bill, you're still here. Fantastic. I'm glad you got to see that I picked your piece. Well, I featured it in thumbnail. I knew I would. This was one piece that I selected early on that I knew I was going to have in my top 10. So nope, congratulations as always. An X-Men Classic '87 cover, and yep, we don't see enough Paul Smith X-Men art on CAF. Oh, there you go. And Jason's reminding us of the storyline there. Colossus broke Kitty's heart before this, and Wolvie was not happy. So yeah, he deserved a butt whooping. All right, so Michael McIsaac, you get a little love here from me from this great Bilquist piece. This is what is it, Rogue and Gambit #1 variant cover. Again, all right, I picked another X-Men piece. Everybody, I'm sorry, so shoot me. I did try to mix things up a tiny bit throughout, but I really just I really love the image. I love the I see a little Michael Golden feel to the line work here. Certainly not the weight, but just in the way, in the quality of the work, because it's not. I love the way the character's shaded, but just something about the way she's drawn. I mean, the background has so much detail, but it doesn't overpower the central figure. I just love the presentation of it. I love the perspective on it. Yep. So yeah, just an absolutely beautiful piece. Makes me want to own a piece by them, and I have never really thought about that before.
Yeah, she's in Felix's table, right? She's one of his. Yeah, she's one of his.
Is she? Because I didn't know. All right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the way. I mean, the background, just the sheer amount of detail on those buildings, right? And the figure still stands out because she didn't overwork it.
Right.
I mean, the single line rendering on a lot of that stuff in the background, and beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely lovely. Yeah, and Michael, I mean, Michael's collection is fantastic. I mean, man, we are just so fortunate to have such great artwork out there and people who are willing to share, their collections on CAF. Oh, I didn't realize the published piece was there too. Oh, that's not too bad.
No, that isn't too bad. Good job, Mr. Colorist.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is great. Well, congratulations, Michael. This is a great addition to your CAF gallery. And all right, I've got my like on that one. All right, so I'm still Marvel here, everybody. I'm sorry. I get my like on this one here. This is in We Quit's CAF gallery. You might as well follow We Quit because We Quit does post a ton of amazing art, and this is of course by Ramos. Let's see, it's the amazing Spider-Man #1 cover. This one I like Ramos's work. I mean, sometimes for me, I don't know. Sometimes it's hit or miss for me, but with this particular cover, it just captures so much. As much as I love the execution of the piece, it's absolutely well rendered. But I love the just pure joy on the character. Just the posture of the character. I mean, he's having a darn great day, right? Yeah. And see, I always look at the feet that Ramos draws, and it always throws me. But outside of that, since we're going to talk about feet tonight, all right, I do think Ramos has an interesting take on the anatomy of a foot.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, and he's being zoomed in doesn't really kind of show it off. But I just looking at it in its entirety, I love the pose of the character, and just again, there's a Stan Lee signature on it too. Doggone it.
Oh, does it? What?
Yeah, look at that. It's really really tiny, right there.
I see it. Yeah. Oh, whoever got it, they dodged the bullet because it's not in like Sharpie. It actually kind of blends in decently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised. It's one of the rare times when it's not in a heavy Sharpie. But again, I just love this piece. I mean, everything about it, the fluid, the webbing. Everything about it. He's got his mask off. I mean, you look at it and you just experience pure joy, and it's like, man, I want to be Peter Parker, right?
Yeah, and he that's exactly what he was going for, right? Because if not, I mean, it's a #1 issue. You would think like normally you would have Spidey with the mask on, right? But I think there was a concerted effort to show that joy on it. So hold the mask in your hand. Beautiful.
Right. I mean, and think about it. Isn't it funny? Because Peter Parker's probably smiling all the time when he's out there, but you don't know it.
You don't know it.
I mean, that's so. I mean, I never even thought about it like that. But that's such a funny thing. what are the characters? I mean, okay, and they're not real. I get it, everybody, but that's what made this piece when I saw it. I was like, I had to pick it because it was like one of those rare moments where you see something like that. And it's like Jeff Moyes' comment about when I said something about his feet. Seriously, at least he draws them.
Hey, but our example for that other guy had feet too today.
That's right. And I don't have a problem with it. I trust me. I like Fred Hembeck. He doesn't draw things, appropriately at all. And I love his work. It's, and I think that's kind of like part of Ramos's signature style. Right. But it just always throws me when I see it because it's just not what I'm expecting. I'm not being critical of it other than just, it is what it is. But again, I really love this piece. It, and this one, you figure that you can contrast this with the other piece where the background was there and it was drawn light. This one's drawn pretty detailed, darker, but it doesn't clash with the character really at all. And, tipping the perspective just a nudge, just adds to the dynamic quality of the cover. Yep. And again, it doesn't take anything away from the character whatsoever. So it's interesting, artist treatment. On the other one, we were kind of commending them for on the Bilquist piece because of the light quality of the background, and it helped the character pop. And here, man, this thing is dark all around, and it still is pulled off really well.
Yeah, and I think he's made some pretty wise choices with how he spotted the blacks on Spidey's costume. Right, it really helps kind of draw the eye to the figure. When you said joy, right? I mean, that's literally what comes to mind when you look at this. And I never kind of looked at it that way as well. But yeah, we could use a little bit more of that in comics.
We certainly can.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to always think that Spider-Man is smiling half the time he's under his mask. He's got to be having a good time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
All right. So this is in Jim D'Amico's CAF gallery. I don't think I really ever featured too much from Jim's CAF. He always tends to get really nice pieces. They're typically in the kind of pinup variety. He collects a lot of work in the sci-fi fantasy realm as well. So he always has some interesting pieces that he adds to his CAF gallery. And now this piece was, let's see, I didn't read his description. So it just says illustration, blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming this was just a commission by Paulo Siqueira, right? Am I butchering that?
I think it's Siqueira.
Sequeira. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so here we go. We get a nice, really highly detailed piece. I mean, this is just wonderful. At first I saw it and I thought, is this a Travis piece? And then I looked at it, just because some of the detail before I zoomed in on it. I mean, you look at some of, because again, this is just phenomenal. And I love all the extra background, the landscape, and then just the buildings in there. But I mean, Wonder Woman is drawn just so well. Everything about it. I mean, it's just nicely done. I love all the cross hatching in the boots. It's just beautiful illustration.
I mean, the guy's got to be a little bit of a masochist, right? I mean, look at how tiny the cross hatching is. Even the shadow on the leg fading from black into the cross hatching on the shield. The hair and the head is a little bit reminiscent of Hughes, right?
Hughes too, right?
But beautiful. The guy does really good work, and I'm not necessarily like a Wonder Woman fan. If Jill's there, sorry, but like this is beautiful. Great pick.
Yep. No, I was happy to see this one, and again, I pass over his pick, the artwork that D'Amico posts a lot, just because I feel like it's not really in the comic art genre. So I was glad to see this piece and get to feature it from his CAF.
Yeah, I would 100%. I mean, if I had to only get like one Wonder Woman piece, I would 100% love to have this one.
There you go. Jill is still here, so she didn't. All right, moving on to my fifth pick. Here we go. Roger Peterson, Rick Magyar. This is from Swamp Thing. It's a John Constantine piece. I just love the imagery. I never read the book. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, I just thought this was such a wonderful piece. I mean, not even just because Constantine's there. It's almost like any character could be there. I just love the way that, all the way down the page. I just love the way the whole thing is laid out. I mean, as a title page, it's just drawn top to bottom like that. I mean, I don't think was the published piece included in here. I don't know, but anyway, there's a little bit of a Magnolia feel in this.
Yeah.
The way it's drawn. Again, I see a little Michael Golden in it, but I love the layout, and it's tough sometimes when you go in there and you look at the detail work, you kind of miss the overall layout. But as a full piece, I just it's covering the page so well. It's broken up and really nicely, and I just love the shadow on the column behind him. Just everything about this piece is just really lovely. And so as a piece of art, I love it. I mean, I just I'd love to have this in my collection. I would never say like, oh, I'd want to add a Roger Peterson to my personal art collection, but this thing is just beautiful. It really, really is. And I had to pick it, had to add it to my list this week.
I'm really glad you picked this one, Bill, because people are probably going to hate on me for this one as well. I haven't read a whole lot of John Constantine either, or any, but I had no idea who Roger Peterson was.
Same here, yeah.
I would like to look his work up, because this is it's a phenomenal looking piece. It's beautiful. I'm a fan of this.
Right. How did you not pick this one, Aranga?
I guess I missed it. The chain link fence. I mean, just look at that. That's a lot of effort that he put into it, and it's a perfect piece of standalone art.
There you go. Jason says it's DC. No one cares. That's not true, Jason.
That's not true. But
yep.
Yeah.
And let's see. Sean Clancy asked the question: do for sale posts make it into the review? We try not to. I've done it a few times. Usually mistakenly, because at the end of the day, I don't want people to think that we're trying to promote somebody's art for sale. Sometimes I pick a piece of art and I love it so much. There was a piece that Ruben had that was for sale in his CAF gallery by Perkins about a month ago, and I picked it, and I knew it was for sale, and but I felt I had to pick it because I really love the art. So we do try to avoid picking art for sale, but sometimes you can't, right? So it's but yeah, by and large, yeah, I do try to avoid it because I'd hate the people to think that they could send me an email saying, hey, Bill, why don't you feature my artwork in the next CAF update? So there's probably a place for that. Maybe that could become an aspect of a show sometime, just featuring artwork that's for sale by collectors. But that's not the approach that we take here on this particular show. Right. And our picks for this one.
I've heard you and Chris say that. So when I kept that in mind, and I'd see a piece and I'd be like, man, that's for sale. Talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, and Steve Rubin says it wasn't for sale at the time, though. All right. So I'm sorry, another X-Men piece. I picked it, if it wasn't for it being Greg Capullo, I wouldn't have picked it. But as I was going through my selection, Greg Capullo X-related page, I thought was just really, really unique. Whose collection was this in? Oh, see, again, it says I love my art. Okay, Simon K. Yeah. As we know, you can name your CAF gallery a little different, but yeah, I just loved everything about it. But I wouldn't have picked it, and then I saw it was Capullo, and I was like, all right. Capullo is somebody who I don't feature too often, and when we do, it's almost always something from DC. So I love the page. I love the word balloons. I mean, this is one where I love. I'm not sure who the letterer is on it, but it's just really crisp and clean. I just and again, I love the line work on it. There's so much detail in these panels. A lot of times we see artists take shortcuts when they do work like this. I look at like this panel right here where Magneto's holding them up, and you don't need all that extra detail around there, but I mean it's filled in. I mean edge to edge. I mean you could let the colorist kind of handle a lot of the action lines and things in here, but yeah, I just love this piece absolutely. And I know Marcus, it's an X title again. All right. I guess I've got here, I'll make everybody a promise. I won't pick one piece of X-related artwork next week.
Oh, right? No.
It's a pledge.
No.
I'll wean myself off of
it. This one hits me right in the... It pushes that nostalgia button hard, because this was like, when I first, around the time, a few years after I started reading. So it's from the Fatal Attractions crossover, if I'm not mistaken. Had a little hologram cover on it. And the page right before this is awesome, but the page right after this is equally awesome, because Magneto does to Cable what he did to Wolverine. Spoilers. But yeah, I had a friend who was kind of waffling on this page. Good for you, Simon. Congrats. But I was trying to push my buddy into the direction of getting this page.
Well, a great piece. I mean, yeah, and everything about it, I just love. And you're right. The storyline at this time was great too. I tend to I don't mention that too often, but yeah, this is a storyline that I loved as well. But again, it's the Capullo art that made me select it. And let's see, Mike Callahan's asking, are we going to be showing extra picks again? No, I did not make extra picks this week. This was. I was coming in under the wire with most of the work that I was putting into the show today. I mean, I literally got everything done about 5 minutes before the show, just because I was trying to add in the Gary Leach stuff, and Mike Finn was sending me things at the last minute because we had a snafu on transferring some files. So no extra picks this week. But if we have time in the future, I will always be happy to show that. But I'm never going to go to that one page on CAF because of the artwork that Ruben had posted that one week. I've learned my lesson about trying to show things off the cuff on this update. Yeah, so that will never, ever happen again.
What was that?
Yeah, that was I was a little bit shocked on that. So here's a piece from a collection of Morgan Social. Gavin Smith is the artist on this one. Something is Killing the Children. I have not read Something is Killing the Children at all, but I know that I should because I've heard it's pretty good. But I really like this piece a lot. I'm a big kind of fantasy sci-fi horror kind of person, and I saw this piece and it just hit like all the spooky quality in a piece of art. I just even though it's got a lot of white out in it, it's a piece that I normally would never pick just because of the kind of the style it's done in. But no, I love the art, and I love these crazy demon-y characters. I mean, I guess they kind of look like they have spawn eyes and whatnot, but man, it's creepy and it's well done. I mean, I really like it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I was just reading the chat again. Every Marcus
Ruben's
is just yes, Ruben's piece, stiff competition. Yeah, but nipples are good. Okay, yes. It's just lines on paper, Bill. Ruben, I didn't think it was posted as a joke. It just caught me by surprise. Somehow I'd managed to miss it, and someone had earlier that piece. Someone had flagged it actually as one I was supposed to moderate, and I don't know how I missed it. That it was on there. So when I went to that page, I was just taken aback. But we all saw his piece. But anyways, back to this piece of artwork. I love it. I love it's. The character in the center is just like overpowered and oppressed by these characters, and you feel it. I mean, obviously though, she's clearly kicking some major butt while it's going on, slicing them up with the sword and everything. But again, I just I like the image, and it's not something that I would normally pick. But hey, I had to add it to my list.
Hey, and it's current, right? Like Something is Killing the Children. I mean, it's been a phenomenon, really.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of modern comics, lot of whiteout on that page, right? So he didn't wasn't shy about it. I do love how dynamic it is, and it fools you a little bit into what the actual size of the monsters are, right? Because you get her hand moving past that foreground monster, so like that's a huge head. And then you look at the guys behind, so it does give you a little bit of perspective on their size and stuff like that. But he has used some ink wash in the background too. Am I right on that, Bill? Right, like to the forest. Yeah. Cool piece.
Yes. Well, congratulations to Morgan Social. Gavin Smith is the artist on that one. So next up is my this is my pick for the week, where I just it's a nostalgic pick 100%. Although I love Rick Leonardi, fantastic artist, but I always love the Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries. So this is from issue 1, and let's see, inks by Ian Aiken. And just for me again, I saw it and I'm like, I want to own a page of art from this miniseries. So and I wouldn't care what it is. So there's not a whole lot going on here. It's an 8-panel layout, nice, but there was just something about the way I always love Leonardi's art. For me, I'm a big Bill Willingham fan, And there's bits of, like, to me, his kind of style in this. I mean, there's a little bit of, I guess, a lot of different creators' style when I look at it now. I mean, I see a little Art Adams influence stuff going on in here too. But yeah, I mean, again, pure nostalgia. It's a piece. It's a piece of art from a series that I'd love to get something from myself. And I can't really say I've not really ever seen a lot of the artwork from this book out on the market either. So yeah, I saw this and I was just really happy to see it.
Yeah, it's gorgeously rendered, right? I mean, the way that he's chosen to do the light effect, yeah, kind of like there's a lot of Adams in that, whether that's early Adams or late Adams, but just love the rendering on it. And he's done it on multiple panels over and over. Specifically, that I think the top right panel was that the one I saw where she's opening the door.
Yeah,
Just the kind of the way she looks like behind the door with the reflection versus the part that's exposed. Man, it's gorgeous.
it really is.
Great looking page.
And see, Marcus is just okay. I'll also have to say no X-Men, no mutant artwork whatsoever next week. I promise. I'm going to wean myself off just for 1 week to I don't what you're right. What am I going to do when the art's there? You got to go with it. I mean, Michael Callahan just said his wife said it's a cool piece, but
right.
Yeah, all right, we're doing some good here.
That's a win. That's a win,
Yeah,
Bill. I mean, you might have the best pick of the night if Michael Callahan's wife said. I mean, anytime I get a compliment from anyone's wife, like on art, I mean that's the one that wins. Sorry.
Agreed. And Ruben just said, I really enjoyed Aiken and Garvey inks on comics throughout the 80s. They did a great job over Sal for a while on Rom as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is and now I've got to get a piece by Leonardi. I've never owned a single piece of artwork by him. So now I'm going to start looking to see what may or may not be out there. Jason signing off for the night. He's probably got a busy weekend ahead of him. All right, Jason, good night. All right, what do we got?
Night off for me next week.
Night off for me next week. I don't know.
I think he's sticking.
I think it's. I think he's saying night off for me. No, you're right. I don't know. What does that mean, Jason? Now, all right, that's not a complete sentence.
Some kind of Jersey sentence that I don't.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, this is Jason Schachter's piece of David Finch, Mr. Freeze. I mean, I just, again, I'm not a DC guy, everybody, but I love good art. And even with this big logo on there, Jason threw on. Is this piece for sale? I hope it's not. Not for sale. All right. All right. Well, typically Jason doesn't post art for sale on CAF. So but yeah, now I started worrying there a little bit. But man, look at this beauty. I would love to own this thing. I love the choice of colors. The goggle red against the blue. I mean, man, this thing is just phenomenal. I mean, I'm so jealous. I mean, I see this. I want to own this. I really, when I saw it, I was like, damn, that is just a beautiful piece of art.
So it's bonkers, right? Okay, so what am I looking at here, Bill? Like, is this a picture taken of the piece on top of a paper that he was drawing? I mean, he didn't just render it like that, did he? Like the background with the overspray and all of that, is that just a paper? And the actual rectangle with Mr. Freeze in it, is that the actual piece, or did he just mean to draw
right? It's hard to tell intent, I guess, from that. I mean, there's not a lot of and you're right. This is the Jason Schachter. I saw Ruben was questioning which Jason Schachter, but but yeah, it's the Jason Schachter. But of course it is, because it's got the logo on there, man. But it's got his watermark. But yeah, I don't know. But again, this is just
beautiful.
The more I look at it, it's like, yeah, I'm so jealous. I want to own this thing. And
it's like haunting.
It is. It's again so well done. But for me, I pick up a lot of spot illustrations, and so for me, I look at this and it's just like this is just beautiful, man. I'm jealous. The more I look at it, the more I want it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm with you, right? Like I don't normally fawn over a lot of. It's again, you're missing that connection to the art, but this is exclusive of whether you like the character, know the character, whatever. It kind of transcends that. That lighting effect. I mean, I'm not even sure how we managed to get that. what medium he used here. I know I've seen him paint on his channel with
Hmm.
liquid acrylics. He's using a little bit more here, I think.
There you go. Jeff says it's on paper, it's airbrush splatter and overspray. At least that's the way it looks. And yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So that's a that because I assumed that entire thing was the picture, but I guess it's a photo taken of the piece sitting on paper that caught the overspray. That's
Yeah,
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
you should, but yeah, still, I can't think of anything outside of wanting to own the darn thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great. Congratulations to Jason for picking it up. And what did he say? Thanks, Dave. Been loving his painting. So
Yeah.
all right, and I got my like on that one. And here I just, after we had the Finley piece last week, I figured I'd pick a piece by Kelly Freeze. I was trying to look for something in this genre that was posted this past week, and so I don't even know what was this. It's got to be a spot illustration to a book. What's it say? Tops in Science Fiction pulp illustration. Citadel of Lost Ships. And this is in Doug Ellis's collection. Doug is, he is a collector of this genre of work. But when I zoomed in it, I love the light figure work in the back to know that that there's more of these creatures around. I mean, I don't know. I'm a sucker for this era of science fiction. I mean, what is that? 1952.
Wow.
And Kelly, I've never owned anything by Freeze either. But I mean, look at this thing. This is just, man, I love the detail. I love this. I mean, you figure they're trying to render what the space age was going to be like, and all this stuff, and try to come up with science fiction and make it fun and interesting for readers. And I mean, Kelly was just an amazing artist, and I love this piece. It's all pencil. It's gorgeous. And again, makes me want to get something in my collection from them.
The rendering is just bananas, right? It's beautiful. Is he using the texture of the paper? Is that what we're looking at? I mean,
Well, that's funny. When I saw the piece too, that was one of the first things I thought about, and I didn't read it, but it's got to be the texture of the paper to get that. It's just so consistent.
yeah,
I can't imagine that he's doing that on his own.
right.
If he were, then this would be just absolutely more, mind-numbingly amazing than it always is.
Insanity, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like the paper it's almost it's definitely got a texture, because I mean, the more you look at it, I'm glad he put because look over here on the bottom of this side here. If we look over at that, you can see the texture on the paper.
Oh, right. So it's not like a hand done. I mean, there's still a stippling effect there.
But clearly that was his choice of paper too. So I'm sure that when looking at it and they're thinking about how it's going to look printed and everything, I'm sure that was probably part of the choice in using the rather than something smooth, use something that had a lot of texture in it, because I'm sure that just like these backgrounds probably printed out really nicely when they were done in publication. So yeah,
man, thanks for picking this one, Bill, because I know I zoomed by it, because it's one of the disadvantages of not kind of clicking on that thumbnail and taking a closer look, because I'm not familiar with the artist. I'll be honest with you, but I'm gonna make a note, because it's stunning. I mean, the effort that's put into this.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And Mel mentions Finley and a Fabian vibe. I actually do own some artwork by Fabian, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a very, very similar kind of approach. I mean, all those guys kind of had a similar approach to the way they did their spot illustrations for pulp magazines and whatnot. But beautiful one. And after the Finley pick from last week, I just felt like I wanted to find something older to bring into my picks this week. So there you go. I was at 5X characters or mutants and 5 non. Next week, 0. I promise everyone.
I think you had more variety in your picks than I did in mine. I think in terms of both artists and styles, I was just like, look at that.
Well, we all appreciate different things, and that's why having the guest picks on here is good. So Aranga, I appreciate it, and I'm glad that you got to share that the news about the cover. You got to show it off today. We know that we're going to get to be able to pick one of those up at Heroes if you don't sell out beforehand. So
I think you'll be safe. I think it'll be.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, Mr. Rodriguez, saying, hey, let's not make Fridays a regular thing, guys. I really do like to have Friday, Saturday, Sundays off. So this is rare, at least for now. I mean, maybe I'll feel different once I'm a little more relaxed down in Florida, but I do like having the 3 days off when I can get it. So and I don't like imposing on people's Friday evenings as well. Arango probably had he could have been going out on the town having a good time, and yet he chose to hang out with us
I
tonight.
was like, shut that down. Bill needs me.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, this was really a lot of fun, Bill. It was, it's if you ever need someone to cover, if Chris is, slacking, doing whatever he's doing right now, crossword night or whatever with his wife, just, hit me up. I would be happy to do it again, but without going on too much about it. Thank you for what you did earlier. So I do appreciate.
No, man, it was my pleasure, and seeing you on the 4C show earlier this week. I mean, it was great. I mean, it's always, it's just such a cool thing to be able to do what you love and to have people that you trust working around you too. I mean, all that, it's all just really special, and it seems like everything's kind of fitting together for you right now. And I couldn't be happier.
A lot to do with it. Everybody on here, people in the chat and all of that stuff. So I think it was, I didn't know it was happening, but it's a nice bit of synergy to be able to kind of announce it on here because it's very cool. But very kind again. I'm gonna try not to go on about it, but thank you.
Hey, not a problem. Well, you have a good night, and again, thank you for doing this. And you will be on my short list now. So whenever we need a backup, you're on it. So I will let you know.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right, man. Good night,
everyone.
All right. So another great show, everybody, and a Friday night, and I still ran long. My gosh, this is almost 3 hours. I can't believe it. Well, I apologize, but I'm thankful that so many of you stuck with us through the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. I love doing the art picks and having a guest on do them as well is fun. Chris enjoys doing them, but he's willing to take a step back every now and again. I know that I do have Khalil lined up a couple weeks from now. Eric Wenger is going to be doing next week's picks, and then Chris, and then Khalil. Larry wants to come back and do picks as well. So we've definitely, we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit, but Chris is still going to be the go-to, but I want to just keep bringing in people who want to spend some time and do their picks as well. Ruben, one day, maybe you should do 10 picks too. We would be interested to see what you would choose as well. So listen, I'm going to call it a night. It was a fun show as always. Thank you to Michael Finn as well for helping us start things out and talk about his good friend Gary Leach. And another one of our favorite artists is no longer with us. So it's always sad, but it was great to have Michael's insight into Gary, since he'd spent a lot of time with him. I would have loved to. I thought about asking Joseph, and I just knew that there'd be no way to get Joseph to be able to stay up late. And then I even thought about asking him to maybe record something, and then I just kind of felt like it's probably not like the best time to be asking anyone to talk about somebody who's recently passed, but Michael really did a great job. So thank you to him. Thank you to see, nice to meet Lee Banaka for the first time. I mean, I've emailed with him so much, so I look forward to getting him on the chat schedule as well. So I promise everybody there will be there'll be 10 grummets if Ruben did picks. Yeah, you never know, right? We pick what we love. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in on this Friday evening, and I hope you all have a great weekend. I will be online doing a live stream at 4:00 tomorrow with Anthony. For those of you who want to tune in and watch me and Anthony talk about Assad's artwork, it should. Who knows what? I'm just happy to keep everybody happy. If I can keep Anthony happy doing a show with him, I'll do it. But Ruben, just shoot me an email. We'll talk about it and see if we can get you on the list. But all right, I'm calling it a night. And again, thank you everybody. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. And busy schedule on here again next week, as everybody knows. Full slate of stuff. Heritage preview on Monday. Gene Park on Tuesday. Dueling Dealers. Another CAF update. So never a dull moment around here. But have a wonderful weekend.